What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Welcome to the nightly bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Man, it has been one of those days. I was now away from St. Louis, Cincinnati, first three under 2.5. I was now away from Athletics, Kansas City, first three under 2.5. I would have cashed the New York, Baltimore, first three under 2.5 without the air. But these things happen. The Athletics KC first five under 5 was just a bad bet. Athletics first 5 plus a half was a bad bet. We cashed New York, Baltimore first 5 under 4.5. We cashed the Yankees. So 2 and 5 in MLB, disappointing. NFL preseason looking bad. We're told Stroud's not going to play. Stroud starts. Total goes up to 40. I lost the Texans team total under. When that pick six happened, I knew I was going to lose it. The Raiders looks like a mistake, but I did move on 2 live bets that could help the night quite a bit. I have the Raiders plus 12.5, and I have the under 51.5. So the under 51.5 certainly in business. Then the under 37.5 still has a chance here. It looks pretty good. So there. Oh, why am I not? Oh, sorry. I got to log in here. Thought I was in, but into my account. What the hell is going on? You know what? Here, let me just get out of this YouTube here quickly. Sorry, I want to be able to discuss with you guys. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm in business. But look, the Dallas Wings. I had a chance to get in live at the plus 8.5 too. 8.5 is my number in the NBA. In the WNBA, I go for double digits, and I made the mistake of waiting. But we did cap that beautifully. With just saying that this is a really tough travel situation for them. And I talked about the coughing and the sickness and the tinfoil hat. So that looked great. So that will be our 7th straight win in WNBA. We'll see how the rest of the night bangs out. Look, we're having a great week, and nights like this will happen. So I'm ready to turn the page and attack tomorrow's card. Shout out to all the cappers joining us. We got Sharpie in the house, AM, Swiggy on the 1s and 2s, Swiggy, my man, Tat to Cliff, Agent Parlay, Double Up Dave. Yes, Double Up Dave, thank you for your help, my man. We're a team. And very thankful. That's why I'm a copy and paste madman with all of the insights that you guys all have. We have a massive card for us today. And I'm really getting more and more comfortable with the idea of not coming to the show with action and talking it out with you guys. It does also create a very different show on the nightly bag than the morning bag, when the morning bag is just, explaining exactly the moves that we have broken down together. Robert Cherry in the house, great to see you. So without further ado, let's attack the card. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We start at 4:10 p.m. Eastern with the Atlanta Braves 74 and 53, 32 and 30. Now 75 and 53, 33 and 30. That bothered me very much, by the way. I capped the Grant Holmes, Anthony Kay game, as good as I can cap a game. The market got me off a bet. And that will sting for a while. Chris Lawrence in the house. We got Super True Story. Thank you guys for joining us. So let's roll here. We're American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Minus 11% runs, minus 4% homers, minus 9% doubles and triples, and minus 12% signals. I've got to be singles. I got to be cognizant of the 5-minute time clock here as well, because we have a lot to cover. Chris Sale, 12 and 8, 2.16 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, 3.07 expected ERA. Going up against Jacob Mizorowski. I mean, this is a matchup of our wildest dreams. Chris Sale's been a monster all season long. He's just been so consistent. I mean, you could say, look, he isn't being as dominant as we've seen him in the past. I don't know. You could. I mean, it's still got 160 strikeouts over 129 innings. He's had one start this year where he's allowed more than 3 earned runs. I mean, that's just consistency at its finest. His last start at home versus the Diamondbacks, 1 earned run over 6 innings. He was amazing. The start before that, August 8th, 3 earned runs over 6 innings, the 5-4 loss at the Yankees. He didn't look as dominant. The start before that doesn't allow a run in the 1-0 win at the Mets. He's just money in the bank. He's just very, very good. But he's going up against a pitcher who statistically has better numbers than him. 1.75 ERA, 0.75 whip. 0.75 whip. Good God. 1.93 expected ERA. 210 strikeouts in 139 innings. 210 strikeouts and 31 walks. Shout out to our guy Big Show Picks in the house. Shout out to Pub Sports MMA fam. So, Mizorowski is spectacular. Sharpie says this to me is a first 7 under, and he'll be on it. It's a very low total. We'll go over all of this. Robert Chagiri liking the Braves here in this spot. First 5 plus a half. Says easy money, don't overthink it. Well, I hear that. I also can't imagine in a game with such low volatility that wouldn't be extremely expensive. I haven't looked at the price difference, but let's just go into that right away. I mean, I don't see how that wouldn't be extremely expensive. Sorry, let me move a couple things here. Logged in. Sorry. Okay, so we have the first half plus a half. Wow, look at that. Wow, Robert, that is not expensive. Wow. Wow, that is not expensive. Huh. Who would have thought that you'd be able to get Chris Sale plus a half run at minus 128? Wow, Robert, you might have absolutely nailed this. Doubled Up Dave says Braves had a strange pit stop game today. They did. Sharpie says Miz shows up and waits for days like this. Yes, I got Sale shoving, but 2-1 after 7 is realistic. Wow, what an interesting angle from Robert Cherry. That's the reason why I'm here, man. I'm here to break down the games with you guys. Let's talk about Miz. His last start, 1 run over 6 innings in the 4-1 win at the Dodgers. It was a thing of beauty. Like Sharpie saying, you know, he steps up in big spots. These are 2 extremely quality pitchers. God, that is an appealing line here that Robert was talking about. Robert also has first 3 under 2, first 5 under 3, full game under 6.5. Wow. So just hammering under every which way here. And his airness says Braves not raking either. And Monster T says that Brew Crew have decent history against Sale. This is a real interesting spot. Let's get into the bullpens. Brewers bullpen 2.88 ERA, 1.17 whip. There's professionals you get. The Braves bullpen has been struggling. It's been very strange watching them struggle. 4.86 ERA, 1.47 whip. They're both tired bullpens here. Sharpie says Chris Sale, the dog price is red flag number 1. I think that's a pretty fair line, honestly. I'm surprised about the first 5 plus a half, but you know, the Brewers are 19 games over 500, now 20 games over 500 at home, and the Braves are 2 games over 500. Sharpie says that first 5 should be closer than the full game. We'll go over that because these are very, very, very salient points that you guys are all making. So then when we get to the stick, so we know that the bullpen advantage is heavily in the Brewers' favor, and we know the hitting is heavily in the Brewers' favor. Braves are hitting righties, but they're not hitting lefties. Sorry, I said it wrong. Braves are hitting lefties, but they're not hitting righties. Braves are hitting 221 with a 658 OPS versus righties. And look at the rolling batting average, just going down, down, and down. The Brewers versus lefties, 233, 726 OPS. So, I mean, those aren't great numbers, but they're better than what the Braves are doing versus righties. Well, let's take a look at the line history here. Let's touch on the first 5s. Let's do all of that. So, line history-wise, we've seen this move 2 cents towards the Brewers from minus 140 to minus 142. When the first move was towards Sale. The first move was 10 cents away from the Brewers and 9 cents towards the Braves, and then it bounced back 11 cents away from the Brewers and 12 cents towards the Brewers. Sorry, 11 cents away from the Braves and 12 cents towards the Brewers. 2 cents of movement from minus 140 to minus 142. That's all there is here for the Brew Crew. I think it's an important point that Sharpie's making, and we should study the first 5 lines as well. There's been 5 cents of movement towards this under. It was an under 6.5 at minus 115. Now it's an under 6.5 at minus 120. His airness says, man, seems like just take the Brewers. You know, I mean, I can understand that full game. So let's take a look at the price difference here. We have the Braves plus 127 full game First 5 plus 125. Yeah, you're right, Sharpie. That is a surprise. The Brewers are minus 140 full game. First 5 minus 147. So the advantage is on Miz across the board, seemingly. And I guess maybe a part of it, Marco Lou saying the Brewers' bats are awake. They certainly are. But maybe part of it is the Brewers, sitting at home and the Braves having to travel. What a fascinating baseball game here. Let's get into the cash flow here and see if we can get any information there. We have 62% of the tickets on Mizrowski and 18% of the cash. I don't put too much into these numbers, but they're an early sense of what's going on. Wow, so 82% of the cash on sale, but we've had buyback here. Other than BetMGM, I guess that's not true because DraftKings. Okay. But Circa does have an expensive price on the Brewers. Wow. And then on the total, 67% of tickets on the under and 91% of cash. Huh. Oh. Touchdown Raiders. Now they can stop scoring here. Or, kick a field goal, call it a day. Sorry, let's go over to the first 3, if it's up yet. I was just so caught up in capping the football card, the NFL and CFL and WNBA as well. I got the MLB stuff done. I got my worksheet done by maybe 7 p.m. I have not spoken. I've not stepped outside. I've not spoken to a person other than my children. But look, this battle is one I choose to wage, and I love to wage it. So when we talk about the first 3, it's up. The first 3 is under 1.5 at minus 115. That's the most expensive first 3 the night before. Now, we've seen a couple first 3s get to this number by first pitch, but that's the most expensive first 3 I've seen. Wow. Wow. Well, this is extremely interesting. I'm going to need time to sit with this. But I agree. I do believe that they're going to bring out the best in each other. That Miz and Sale will bring out the best of each other. And I also feel that the bullpen pieces, after watching Sale and Mizrowski work their magic, are going to want to step up their game and not ruin this all, obviously. And Mark Stastowski saw first grader 2.5 minus 155 at Bet 365. Wow. Well, that is long gone. The first grader 2.5 is minus 245. Did you? Wow. God, when did you see that, Mark? What time was that at? Because, I don't imagine this was available for more than a couple hours. Wow, this is just a phenomenal baseball game. Look, I'm going to invest in these pitchers being brilliant tomorrow. The question is what is the right way to go about it? I am concerned, as Sharpie says, about that price on the on the Braves first 5 plus a half, or even the Braves first 5 in general. But, at this point with the statistical profile of Mizrowski, he shouldn't be. At this point, he's got to be an advantage first 5 against every pitcher in Major League Baseball right now, including Sale. And then just take a look at this at Pinnacle. The first 5 under 3 is minus 110. Good God, is this expensive? Wow. And less than 2 hours ago. That's insane. That is absolutely insane that the price moved that quickly. Wow. So I want to invest in unders. And I think that's all I'll do here. Sharpie says they're not offering him a first 7 yet. They're offering one at 365. The first 7 under is 4.5 at minus 120. That's a very interesting way of handling it in a way that makes sense. I only want to have 2 units on unders, though. So I'll pick the ones that appeal to me the most. And then I think that's where I'll just leave it. Well, what a game that is. So I'll have to decide what I like most. But I do tend to agree with Sharpie because let's say this game is 2-2 going to extras. Well, the over is likely to cash. But if this is 2-2 after 7 innings, you cash the first 7 under. I think that's a very smart way of handling that, Sharpie, that first 7 under. Jonathan Dutra looking at the Braves plus 1.5. The great stuff from the chat. You guys really nailed this. This was excellent work. All right, let's roll. And I cannot believe that I could have got the first 3 under 2. I mean, I guess market just got hammered immediately with limits. But okay, let's roll on. Next spot on the board, 6:40 p.m. Eastern. The St. Louis Cardinals, 65 and 63. Now 66 and 63 after today. 34 and 29 on the road. At the Philadelphia Phillies, 70 and 58. 35 and 30 at home. We're at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Let's get into the conditions here at Citizens Bank. Far less offensive than what we've seen of late. Minus 2% runs, minus 13% homers, plus 4% doubles and triples. And we have even singles here, even singles. So Hunter Dobbins, 3-3, 3.42 ERA, 1.30 whip, 3.76 expected ERA. I really like him. I'm a fan of Dobbins. He's confident. They love him in the clubhouse. And he steps up. And he does whatever's asked of him. He doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. But he seems like a guy who will, knock somebody out if he needs to for a friend or for a teammate. AAA Memphis this year, the 8th round pick in the 2021 draft out of Texas Tech, of course, was a Red Sox, now Cardinal. AAA Memphis, he was good. Not great, but he was quite good. He finally got to come up to the show on April 30th, and he was a primary a couple times. He's been getting better as the season has gone on, and he didn't start out poorly. I like him, and I trust him. His last start, 2 earned runs over 5 innings, an 11-4 win at the Cubs. He did that at Wrigley Field. Start before that, he allowed 1 earned run over 5 at home versus the Phillies. Start before that, he goes into Yankee Stadium, and he allows 2 earned runs over 6 1/3. Now, he gets barreled at times, so he allows home runs. He's allowed 4 home runs in his last 4 starts. So he's allowed 3 home runs in his last 3 starts, and he's only allowed 5 earned runs in those 3 starts. So it appears that, like a Cade Cavalli, that when the bases are empty, that he will attack the batter. Let's talk about Jesus Luzardo, 3.23 ERA, 1.15 whip, 2.88 expected ERA, and just a spectacular pitcher. Of course, he pitched in the All-Star game. He's unbelievable, and the Cards don't hit lefties. That last start was excellent. 1 earned run over 6 2/3 and a 9-1 win at the Twins. He had one bad start, which was hard to understand. It's a crazy outlier. I mean, if you go through his statistical profile here, you have to go back to June 5th to see a start where he allows over 3 earned runs. So he allowed 6 earned runs on July 29th. I think you can just put a line through that. It was on the road in Miami. He used to be a Marlin. I don't know. I mean, just let it go, I think. Great stuff, Swiggy. We just cashed our 7th in a row in WNBA with the Wings, and now we go for 8. But I didn't double down on the first half, which is something I thought of. I mean, that could have... Well, that's the focus here. But thank you for the update. Very thankful. Phillies bullpen, 4.39 ERA, 1.32 whip. Mediocre, as is the Cards bullpen. And the Cards bullpen is exhausted here. 4.03 ERA, 1.35 whip. When it comes to the... and I guess it says fresh here for the bullpens, but... I mean, I thought they went into today's game exhausted. And then how deep did they go in that game? I see them as a tired bullpen here. But let's keep rolling here with this spot. When we get to the sticks, the Phillies are hitting righties, and the Cards are not hitting lefties. I mean, I don't see a situation, honestly, with this exhaust. Now, the Cardinals have started to hit a little bit in the last couple of games, but they got to be exhausted after this series versus the Reds, and now they come up to Philadelphia. It's hard to really put together a situation where Luzardo doesn't shove here. We have an 8.5 minus 115 to the under. I would want to focus only on the first 3s and the first 5s. When we get to the money line here for this spot, we have Luzardo at minus 200. It's extremely expensive. Very few books have opened this game up for action as well. So I don't know why that is. So this is not available at penny either. I don't know why that is. I don't know who would be. I don't know why does 365 have this lined? I mean, it's fine if they don't. We can move past it, but wow, it's not up here either. I wonder what the concern is. Maybe it's Dobbins. Shout out to Light Cheese in the house. So His Airness just sounds like another first three under. You know, I love those first three unders, man. They got me today, but I love them. Yeah. But it also feels like a Philadelphia first five minus a half. Now, that price may be very expensive. We'll have to wait and see what it is. But yeah, it feels that way. It feels like it's a first three under, a first five under, and then a Philadelphia first five minus a half. You know, I'm thinking now here that that'll be the end of this game. We'll move on to the next game in a second. But I've been watching Sharpie attack the first sevens, and I've done it a bit in the past, but not in the last couple of years. And it's a really great way of betting a situation where you truly trust the starters and you know they're going to go deep. And then you know there's a major drop-off once the bullpens get in. I think I need to start adding more first sevens here. And that's the great thing about us all working together. So we roll here. Ronnie Lofton in the house. The Godfather ready to get to work. So let's roll on. But that is a game I'm going to invest in. Just want some confirmation. But again, Bet Online. Shout out to Bet Online. I had to fight hard with my local to list pitchers. There's very few books that do that for us. These books are taking away every little perceived advantage that we have. There's Hino Ball in the house. Has took this Texans under 42.5. I got under 51.5. So we can fix the day. We can fix the day. Nothing more dangerous than a gambler with hope. Let's roll. 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Blue Jays 62-66. 29-33 on the road at the New York Yankees. 71-55. 31-27 at home. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. And this line is not out yet. And it's because Spencer Arrighetti is he's pitching. So there is concern about Spencer Arrighetti. He had Morton's neuroma in his foot here. Let's talk about the conditions in the Bronx. Plus 1% runs, plus 7% homers, minus 8% doubles and triples, and minus 2% singles. Let's figure out what the hell Morton's neuroma is here. Very, very quickly. Morton's neuroma. There we go. So it's a painful condition that affects the ball of the foot, most commonly the space between the third and fourth toes. It involves the thickening of fibrosis of tissue around one of the digital nerves leading to the toes, typically caused by compression, irritation, or repetitive trauma. Not to be confused with gout that booze bags like myself get, but I haven't gotten in a while. And I'm running to try and not get gout anymore. Ronnie Crawford in the house. Shotgun play of the day is in. It is the Detroit Tigers. So Spencer Arrighetti. And there is reason to be concerned about Arrighetti. Arrighetti, look, I don't know Spencer Arrighetti, but I feel like I do. I can tell when he walks on the mound if he has it or not. My mom's a shrink, maybe it's a body language thing, but I can tell when he's a bulldog. His hair swinging back and forth with a ton of confidence. I can see it. I know it. When he was down in the minors this year, he was pitching at an incredible. His movement was insane. His numbers were spectacular. They called him up, and he was unbelievable. This guy was one of the best pitchers in the league for 6 or 7 starts in a row. And then something happened. Maybe his foot started hurting. I don't know what happened, but something happened. He stopped walking onto the mound with that same confidence. He threw 3 2/3 innings for AAA Buffalo on Sunday. He allowed 2 runs. He allowed 3 hits and a walk. He struck out 3. He built up to 50 pitches, and so here, his fastball averaged 90.5 miles per hour. This year, it averaged 92.4. I think Spencer Arrighetti is a fade. I think he's a fade. I can hear the excuses in his head right now. So let's talk about Cam Schlittler. 10-6, 2.19 ERA, 0.94 WHIP, 2.93 expected ERA. He's been an absolute beast all year. Last start, 1 earned run over 5 1/3 at these Jays. So the Jays just got a look at him on Saturday. He was very good, but he did walk 3 batters, and the Jays are playing very competitive baseball. Very, very competitive baseball. I love to hear it, Robert. We're all ears, my man. So let's get into the bullpens. Yankees bullpen 2.65 ERA, 1.21 WHIP. Jays bullpen 3.54 ERA, 1.46 WHIP. Statistically, they're playing much better than I expect them to pitch. So I should not say negative things because I expect them to fall apart. The Yankees bullpen exhausted. The Jays bullpen, has some issues, but I can't believe how well the Jays bullpen's pitching. I can't believe how well the Jays are playing. Jays versus righties 259, 710 OPS. Yankees versus righties 200, 620 OPS. The Yankees have the lowest, other than the Angels. Angels are just below them. Second lowest runs in Major League Baseball since the All-Star break. And yet they're 3 games over 500 in those games, just to show the kind of pitching that they're delivering. Swiggy says Jays are playing for the wild card spot. These are like playoff games for them. They are, but the Yankees really want to host, and it looks like they're going to get to, but they really want to host that wild card series. So, and when these teams meet up, they don't like each other. Let's get into the line history here. We don't have anything really. Bovada, MyBookie have come out with lines. They're very different. MyBookie's minus 208. Bovada's minus 240. Beautiful. Love to hear that, Godfather. That's 7 straight in WNBA. Going for 8 with the Aces. And then 9 with the Sparks, plus 9.5. Josh Witt, great to see you. So, I want to fade Spencer Arrighetti. But Schlittler just saw the Jays, and I wonder if they could have some nice at-bats against them. Schlittler faced the Jays on May 20th. 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks, and 2 walks. He faced the Jays Saturday, June 13th. Shut him down. 1 earned runs over 7 innings. That was in Toronto. So now we have his 4th time facing the Jays. And, I think there could be runs in this baseball game. Great to see Ken Mizrahi. My man, Ken, looking forward to tomorrow night, man. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Sports Rage 25th anniversary. So with this all said and done, I think there could be runs in this game. These teams are not hitting. I might be better off just fading the starting pitching. I don't think Arrighetti's going to shove here. So maybe it's a first 5 over. We'll have to see what the first 3 is, and because look, I wanted to bet the over in the Rangers Nationals game. I'll be a better capper when the market tells me don't do it, and not only do I not do it, but I flip to the other side. I know Elio loved the Rangers today, and I was like, how could we back DeGrom? But the books told us to do it, and they were right to do it. Sharpie says Cam has had 1 back-to-back in his career last year, 5 1/3 and 1 earned run in Game 1. In Game 2, he shoved 7 and 0 earned runs. This is the 4th time, though, Sharpie. But I hear that. I don't think he's very vulnerable here. I've done like 2 this year, I believe. I've cashed them both. Midwest Margins, excellent work here in the Alouettes game. So, and Double Up Dave says that line is outrageous. I don't think that they'll open at that line. Well, I mean, I know they're here at Bovada line, but let's let the other books come up with lines. So I want the first 5 over. I also want to fade Arrighetti, which would be a Yankees first 3 and first 5. Now, if I see him walk on the mat, I don't see it, man. And I guess this Morton's Naromo was why he was had no confidence, maybe. We'll see. But I want to fade him. I want to fade Arrighetti. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board. 7:10 p.m. Eastern. San Francisco Giants 52-74, 23-41 on the road at the Boston Red Sox. 68-59, 31-32 at home. We're at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. Our guy Mark Stasowski, he's in the chat right now, and he loves this first 3 under. Loves it. It's an interesting spot. Let's start with the weather at Fenway. Plus 7% runs, minus 10% homers, plus 21% doubles and triples, and plus 5% singles. We have Logan Webb representing the Giants, and we have some weather issues. Thank you. I love this from Swiggy. I love the alarm there. Let's take a look at that weather here. Boston weather for tomorrow. So, this looks fine. Okay, I think we got no problems here. Yeah, we're good. We're good for Friday weather. I guess I'll look deeper into it, but it looks like it's okay here. We have Logan Webb, 8-7, 3.50 ERA, 1.06 WHIP. Okay, says 11% by first pitch. Cool. 3.50 ERA, 1.06 WHIP, 3.63 expected ERA. He's had a really strange season. He's been very streaky. He was pitching bad. Well, he was not pitching very well, and they put him on the shelf with knee bursitis. He was on the shelf for 24 days. He came off, and he was absolutely spectacular. And then what happened? It was very hard to explain. Right before the All-Star break, he had 2 terrible starts, 10 combined innings, 12 earned runs, allowed 16 hits, 3 home runs. And then it wasn't that. It was the K-to-walk ratio was so strained from Webb. 4 strikeouts, 4 walks. So he needed the break. I guess he was dealing with some sort of arm fatigue. He comes out of the All-Star break Saturday, July 18th, 3 earned runs over 6 2/3 at the Mariners. That wasn't that good of a start. It was run-suppressing weather. It was okay. I mean, he didn't shove. His next start was at home versus the Angels. We're like, well, you're going to shove here? He doesn't. But then he started pitching much better. July 29th, August 3rd, August 9th, August 15th, 4 really strong starts. Now, he was removed from that start Saturday at home versus the Rockies. He allowed 1 earned run over 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, didn't walk a batter. And he took a comebacker in the 5th inning. And he did come back. Oh, no, I guess he finished off. Yeah, he came back for the 6th inning and finished off the 6th inning. But that was it. That was it. He said that he felt tightness around his shoulder. And what they were calling it was back shoulder tightness. I don't think we need to put too much into this. Again, the Giants have nothing to play for, so they wouldn't put him in any kind of risk. So he's obviously telling them that he's good to go. Sharpie says the amount of guys who swing out of the zone will help Gray. The same metrics as when he faced the White Sox and he went 6 innings and didn't allow a run. Let's talk about Mr. Sonny Gray. Love watching Sonny Gray pitch. I mean, we've been watching him for so long now, but he still looks like a kid on the mound to me. 15-3, 2.65 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, 3.59 expected ERA. I guess that's good news for us. I mean, that's good news for my live action. Sorry, Dewan just saying that we got the Raiders touchdown. But okay, okay, I don't have that here on my. So is it 2017 now? Let me know, because they could just shut that game now. It'd be great. So double up Dave on Webb under outs. Again, sorry when I get off the point of attack here. It's just we're investing in these games, and they mean a lot to me. Yeah, 2017. Oh, being reviewed. Okay, thank you. And look at that. Connecticut Sun have come all the way back. 3-0 49ers, says the Godfather. I'm only on the under in that game. That line was perplexing. 2017, okay. So Dino Ball says he wants to back Gray here back at home. So let's talk about Sonny Gray. He's had a great season. 2.65 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, 3.59 expected ERA. He's been absolutely incredible. His last start was a thing of beauty. At the Pirates, 7 innings, doesn't allow a run, strikes out 7, walks 1. He's been so good. Now, he didn't look great at the end of July there. He had 2 starts that were questionable at Toronto. At home versus Toronto. He looked very hittable in that start. Right after that, he went to Oakland, Study Health Park, and he pitched decent, 4 runs over 7 innings in offensive conditions. And like Sharpie said, he faced the White Sox and completely shut them down. He came back, faced the White Sox at home. That was on August 5th. Doesn't allow a run over 6 innings, strikes out 8 and walks 2. Next start, another quality start at the Jays. Bounced right back. 2016, interesting. So now they won't bother going for a field goal, and now this could work out very well for us. It could work out very well for us, Ball. But again, I want to stay focused. So, look, these are 2 great pitchers, and I got caught up in this back shoulder tightness, and I think I should let it go. I don't think I should get too caught up, and I think I should just let it go. So let's talk about the bullpens. Red Sox bullpen been very good for a long time now. 2.53 ERA, 1.04 WHIP. Giants bullpen 3.75 ERA, 1.44 WHIP. And then when it comes to the sticks, the Giants can't hit. Against righties, they're hitting 233 with a 697 OPS. Red Sox versus righties, 276, 810 OPS. So this is Mark Staszowski. Don't throw fade. You've seen him on our show. This is his most confident spot on the board. We've had a big move towards Sonny Gray from minus 150 to minus 173. I'd like to see what the pinnacle price difference between first five and full game is as well. When we get to the total here for this spot, we have an 8. We've had a 10-cent move to the under. But you can still get an 8, or you can get a 7.5. They're both available. Jim Dewigger looking at that Giants team total under 3.5, minus 130. Let's take a look at this price difference here, first five and full game. So here we have the Giants at plus 158, first five plus 145. I honestly, if we think Logan Webb is pitching well, which we do, except for this weird shoulder back tightness from taking the comebacker, which doesn't appear to be any kind of an issue, how do we not move on the Giants first five plus a half? I mean, if we like these pitchers and we expect low volatility, how in the world do we not make that bet? It is the TJ special. TJ flying into Toronto tomorrow evening for a big weekend here up in the 6. Look, it's the TJ special. How do we not bet it? If we believe in Logan Webb. So now let's take a look at what this first 3 is. And let's take a guess as to what it is, because I haven't looked at these first 3s. I was very caught up in making sure I had the football prepared for you guys. So let's take a look. We have this at a 7.5 minus 120 to the over. 2 pitchers that we really like. So it's got to be really expensive. I would say right now it's the first 3 under 2.5 minus 145. And if it's minus 135, it should probably be bet now. So let's take a look at what it is. The first 3 under 2.5 is minus 155. It's expensive and it's the right price. So the first 3 under 2.5, I don't see why we wouldn't have interest in the first 5 under as well, or even the full game. You can get that first 5 under 4 at minus 118. So a first 5 under 4. And then the Giants' first 5 plus a half. I don't see why we don't move on all those. So let's roll. We move on to our next spot on the board. And Mark Staszowski got a minus 125. That is spectacular. At what book, Mark? God, way to go hitting these early. That is unbelievable. Excellent work. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. Washington Nationals at the Miami Marlins. We're at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida here. And Brad Lord is now listed as the starter. But I was really excited about Will Dion being the primary. I wonder if that is still the case. Let's just take a look at a couple things here. First, let's take a look at Brad Lord. So Brad Lord's not stretched out. So it's got to be Brad Lord handing it off to Will Dion. Let's get the confirmation here from RotoWire that is in fact the case. And yes, so that's the case. Brad Lord to Will Dion. That's a pretty nice, and it's still minus 125 on Caesars. Good God, I got to get that book open to the SAP. Wow, Mark. That's insane. If anybody has a Caesars book, go bet that first 3 under 2.5 right now. I'm going to have to bet the first 3 under 2. Minus 130 at Hard Rock. Jesus. Okay, don't let that bother me. Let's talk about Will Dion here. So Brad Lord, he can do a nice job here for an inning and a half or 2 at Lone Depot. Let's talk about Brad Lord. Will Dion. He was a 9th round pick by the Guardians in 2021 draft out of McNeese State. And he was part of the trade for Foster Griffin. The Guardians traded Dion, Hartle, Vergez, and Nick Mitchell in exchange for Foster Griffin. So you guys know, especially Sharpie, the guys who've run with me for a long time, is that I really like the small pitchers. And I really like small goaltenders in hockey because nobody wants to scout them. Will Dion's 5'10" and 180 pounds. You think anybody wanted to scout Will Dion? He's a lefty, so you're going to have Brad Lord and then Dion. Dion has a 4.58 ERA in 19 and 2/3 this year. But I've got all of his stats here. His metrics are much much better than that. The fielding independent metrics. He's got a 2.53 Sierra. He's got a 29.4% strikeout rate and a 3.5% walk rate. So I've got Will Dion stats in AAA and with the Guardians and then with the Nationals. So at AAA Columbus this year, he didn't go. He was sent to the minors, optioned to the minors when they traded for him, and then he was called back up the next day. In AAA Columbus, though, so this is when he was pitching for the Guardians. He pitched in 21 games. He hasn't started a game this year, not in minors, not in the show, but he can go a few innings. 4 innings, 5. He's capable of doing that. He was 5-0 at AAA Columbus with a 3.62 ERA and a 1.05 WHIP. He struck out 52 and 37 and a third with 7 walks. Will Dion is exciting. This is an exciting young pitcher that's coming on. He's pitching after Brad Lord. Brad Lord, the opener, Will Dion, the primary. So in Cleveland, he had 25 strikeouts in 19 2/3, 25 strikeouts and 3 walks. You see why the Nationals wanted him to be a piece of the trade. He comes over to the Nationals. He's had 4 appearances with the Nationals. He's gone 9 innings. He's yet to allow a run. I think this Brad Lord, Will Dion combo is better than Gusto. Ryan Gusto has pitched in 16 games. He started 11, 4.70 ERA, 1.32 WHIP, 4.24 expected ERA. Gusto's done whatever's asked of him. Remember, he was on the Astros last year. He was traded to the Marlins at the deadline. He came over to the Marlins. He was horrific down after the trade deadline. He was so bad. Started the year in the minors, and he came back up. And he's pitching fine. His last start, 4 2/3, 4 runs, 2 of which were earned, an 8-4 win at the Reds. Start before that, August 9th, 4 innings, 2 earned runs, and a 12-3 win at home over the Angels. A 1 earned run over 6 innings at the Braves. That wasn't a bad start here. And then he's got these poor home numbers, which is confusing. He was bad at home as soon as he got traded from the Astros over here. We got Philly Eagle Flyers tied at 2s here. Let's copy those and paste them. And we got Wager Detective in the house. So I didn't realize this until we said everything out loud that I want the Nationals here. Marlins bullpen 4.77 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. This Nats bullpen's pitching better than it's pitched all year. It's crazy. 3.38 ERA, 1.22 WHIP. When it comes to the sticks, the Marlins are going to be going up against righties and lefties. Now, against righties, they're 245, 723 OPS. But when Dion comes in, they're only hitting 236 with 644 OPS versus lefties. And the Nats are hitting righties. Now, these numbers are dropping, 254, 753 OPS. So let's take a look at the line history. Going to get the Philly Eagle Flyers action here right under Ron Crawford's shotgun play of the day, which will be coming up shortly. Let's take a look at the line history here. Brad Lord, also to touch on the opener, he looked bad, looked really bad at the Mets in his last appearance. 2 earned runs. He's actually looked bad in 2 of his 4 appearances. He's actually looked. Brad Lord was incredible to start the year. Brad Lord is a bit of a question mark in this whole situation, but I think I can get past it. Sharpie says, metric-wise, Dion has bad chase contact. Their lefty lineup will favor him as 5 or worse than league averages. He is better than league average in every other category that he cares about. So let's get into this line history here. We have an 8.5. We've had a 15-cent move to the under. If this line's moving towards the Nationals, it's because Will Dion's going to be a beast tomorrow. Now, obviously, you can hear that I'm starting to like him more and more, and maybe a lot of I'm going to pretend it's not because he's 5'10", 180 pounds, and nobody wanted to scout him. We have no movement here. No movement. So let's minus 142 opener. Let's take a look at the price difference here for first 5 and full game here. We have the Nats at minus 143. Oh, and then we don't have a first 5 available at this point. Okay, so we can't do that. Let's take a look at a different book. See if a different book will have a price difference for first 5 and full game so we can establish that the Nats are the way to go. So we have them. Sorry, let's start this again. The Nats are plus 125 full game at bet 365, and then first 5 they're plus 120. Hey, it's something. It is something. So if we can see all the cash on the Marlins, which I doubt, that would really put us in a nice spot. Well, look at that. 71% of the tickets and 77% cash on the Marlins. All right. Got to put our money where our mouth is now, man. So I'm going to be on the Nationals tomorrow. God, I didn't think that was going to come down the tailpipe. I'm going to be on the Nationals tomorrow, and I think it's worthy of a first 5 full game spot. Wager Checker says Nationals were 1 for 27 tonight. That's horrific. And then Hard Rock has plus 120 first 5, plus 135 full game. Thank you, Hino Ball. Wow, a 15-cent difference. God, I can't wait to see what Pinnacle has. Okay, well, I think that there's risk, which would mean, that would mean that we can get the first 5 plus a half, and then the full game. And that's what I'm going to do. God, it's going to be a sweaty Friday. All right, let's roll on. That was a fun breakdown. We have another very interesting one right here. 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Tampa Bay Rays 76-50, 33-28 on the road. Rob Free says those Nationals got blanked every game in that Texas series. So I mean, maybe I should wait then. Rob, so should I wait? Do you think the public will be all over fading them here? Tampa Bay Rays, it'll be nice to get out of Texas. Sharpie says, do you think if you wait, you get a better line tomorrow? All the money's on Miami. That was the question I just posed. Let's. You know what? I know we're gonna move in that next, but let's just take a look at the Heritage. How about Heritage? Heritage opened Miami up minus 146. Now it's minus 147. Yeah, you know maybe you're probably right. What's Bookmaker done? Bookmaker the opposite. They opened this Miami washing up at plus 138. Now it's plus 130. You know, I'll judge it. But I'll keep that in mind from both of you guys here. It's an important note that you guys are saying. Okay, let's get into Charm City, Baltimore, Maryland, Oriole Park, Camden Yards. My man Trevor Rogers against a pitcher I used to love and have stopped. Well, now I love fading him, Freddie Peralta. We have plus 3% runs, even homers, plus 11% doubles and triples, and plus 1% singles. Freddie Peralta, 5-10, 5.27 ERA, 1.48 WHIP. He's got a 4.10 expected ERA. He's had some bad luck, some BABIP that is very high. And he was traded from the Mets in exchange for Aiden Smith, Emilian Petre, and right-hander Gary Gill Hill. Had to add the Gill in there because there has been a Gary Hill. We have him traded over to the Brewers. So he's made 3 starts for the Brewers. First one was August 4th. I think you're right, Sharpie. I think you and Rob Free have great points that I should probably wait. And I'll remember it, but God, I've just been capping nonstop all week and barely sleeping. So I'll wait there just so I know it. Freddie Peralta here. Let's roll. We have. I want to go into what he's done in as a Brewer. Tuesday, August 4th, his first start as a Brewer was in Colorado. It was a difficult situation. He went 3 2/3. He got knocked around for 7 earned runs and 2 jacks. His next start was in Sutter Health Park, a very difficult situation. And he pitched much better, 3 earned runs over 6 innings. His next start was at home versus these Orioles, and they annihilated him. They annihilated the Rays, but they didn't annihilate him. And who did he go up against? Trevor Rogers. So these pitchers just saw each other. It was a 10-2 Orioles victory. And against Peralta, the Orioles only got 2 earned runs over 4 2/3, but he walked 3 batters, struck out 2. Let's talk about Trevor Rogers on the other side. 4.15 ERA, 3.97 WHIP. 3.97 expected ERA, 1.25 WHIP. The last time, so obviously, people who run with me know that these guys with these changeups, like Robert Arena's changeup. Everyone, as soon as people saw his changeup, they messaged me and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna love this kid." I love Trevor. Oh, Marco Lou, that's great news. 2016 final. Oh man, if I just hadn't have focused on, I guess if the Texans don't get that pick 6, I sweep that. Oh, I guess I go 2-1. Whatever. Oh, that's just great. And we cash both live bets. Oh God. Thank you for the wonderful news. So we break down Trevor Rogers. So obviously last year Trevor Rogers was beyond comprehension. 1.81 ERA, 0.90 WHIP, and we had a decent sample size, 109 2/3. He's not doing that this year, and he got off to a really bad start to the season, and then he started pitching very well in June. And then in July, he continued it. He's pitching at a high level right now. I have a lot of belief in him. And Mark Sisowski says, advantage pitcher or batter, back-to-back starts, same team. Well, that is a great question, and I don't know if I guess we'd need to ask Dabby Cab or a real pitcher that question. The way I've always saw it was that if you are a veteran pitcher, you have more tricks in your bag. That if you're a younger pitcher, you don't have a lot of options to show people. You're just going a game at a time. So my thought process would be advantage batter, and that the veteran pitchers would handle it better than the younger pitchers. That's a very simple way of looking at it. But I would say advantage batter, and the older pitchers will do better than the younger pitchers. So I believe in Trevor Rogers. I don't believe in Freddie Peralta. It's not over yet. There's 2 minutes left. Oh, Jesus. Okay, it's okay, Marco. Don't worry. These things happen. I know you weren't trying to screw me. Okay. Texans have the ball. Oh, they're just going to run. Oh, they don't care. Oh, no, Mark. They don't care. We'll celebrate in a couple of minutes here. So I thought that the Raiders had the ball. That would be more of a concern. Sharpie says if the pitcher shoves, the team has to adjust. If the pitcher gets hit, then he's the one who has to make adjustments. That's absolutely right. Now, another thing about Peralta here that's important is that he's had, he's a much lower expected ERA than his ERA, and he's, the BABIP and a bunch of metrics that have hurt him. So maybe Peralta's better than he appears to be, certainly on a great baseball team. Let's talk about these bullpens. Orioles bullpen 4.21 ERA, 1.33 WHIP. Rays bullpen 3.87 ERA, 1.11 WHIP. Rays versus lefties 259, 682 OPS. They're not hitting that hard. Orioles versus righties 219, 676 OPS. Neither of these teams, Rays aren't hitting lefties and the Orioles aren't hitting righties. I don't see really why these pitchers wouldn't be able to do a fine job here. And I think that Rogers will do a better job than Peralta. So let's take a look at this line history here. We had a 14-cent move towards the Orioles. I think that's very telling. And it wasn't right away. That move took about 3 hours and 45 minutes, and it was a 14-cent move. It was a real legit move. And then when we get to the totals here for this one, we have an 8.5 at a pick'em. I'm going to have to sit a little longer here. Robert Cherry says, so we have a 76-50 Rays squad plus 12 against a team that's out of the race for a playoff run. No, they're right in the race, right? They're a game out. Now a game and a half. So they're right in the race. It says, yes, Peralta is suspect, but why wouldn't we take the Rays first 5 plus a half? Oh, so it's funny. You can look at these lines differently, obviously, and so when I see the Rays, who are 26 games over 500, against a team that's 5 games under 500, and the Rays are a dog, that doesn't make the Rays appealing to me. That makes them far, far less appealing. When I, like we talked about in the Braves-White Sox game, it didn't make sense that the White Sox were a dog when they're, I don't remember offhand, but 17 games over 500 at home against a Braves team that's a 500 team on the road. So, wow, Aces 48, Connecticut 47. So it was good that we didn't have the half. Now the Aces blow them away. But let's just see what that live line is. We cashed a live banger with you guys last night. Let's just see what it is right now. The live. Oh, God, the Dream are crushing the Sparks. I could have interest in that one as well. Plus 20.5 for the Sparks. I like that. I like that plus 20.5. I'm going to move on that plus 20.5 right now on the Sparks. And then the minus 9.5 does not appeal to me. I'm moving at plus 20.5 here right now. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, Sparks plus 20.5. We cashed last night on the Valkyries plus 13.5. Okay, let's roll. Let's roll. Okay, so next spot on the board here. So I find the Orioles very appealing. And when we look at the price difference here, first 5 in full game, I think that will add to it, the appeal. The Orioles are minus 127 full game and first 5 minus 133. The Rays full game are plus 115. First 5 plus 113. It doesn't add to the appeal. But I would want the Orioles early. I don't want to have this a bullpen competition between the Rays and the Orioles. So it is the Orioles here for me. That will be the expectation. Let me just check something out here quickly. I think I might. I like this plus 20.5. I think I should add a little. I think I should bet a little bit more on this. I think it's the right move to make. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we roll on. Broadswack says bet against Freddie Peralta and road starts on the run line when playing against a marginal losing team. Winning percentage 46 to 49%. Peralta's team record since the 2024 season 0-6. So for me, it would be Trevor Rogers first 5, Orioles first 5. I don't want to mess with these bullpens. I don't want to mess with the Orioles bullpen going up against the Rays bullpen, even though the Rays bullpen hasn't been as good of late. We roll on. Next spot on the board, 7:40 p.m. Eastern. New York Mets 58-70, 28-35 on the road at the Chicago White Sox 66-60, 37-24 at home now, 66-61, 37-25 at home. We have Rate Field in Chicago, Illinois. Let's take a look at the weather here in Chicago, Illinois. South Siders rise up. Minus 8% runs, minus 4% homers, minus 19% doubles and triples, plus 2% singles. We have Sean Manaea on the hill. Old man Manaea on the hill. 4-5, 4.22 ERA, a 4.53 expected ERA, 1.32 WHIP. Doesn't really tell the story of Manaea. Manaea has been really good until that last start. Very, very good until that last start. Giving up chunks of yards. I mean, they're not going to let... Look, if the Raiders come down and score a touchdown, then I cash my Raiders bet. So I cash the Raiders bet, and then I lose the under. So, I can't lose here. Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. You guys can keep me in the loop. Okay, so let's talk about the spot. So, Manaea here... had a tough start against the Nats at home. 4 runs over 6 1/3, but he'd been pitching at an extremely high level. As high as really I'd ever seen him pitch. You go back to his best days with Oakland. 6 earned runs over his last 4 starts. He went at least 6 innings in all of them. He's gone at least 6 innings in 5 straight starts in 6 of his last 7 starts. He's pitching well, but he's going up against Sean Burke. 7-6, 3.15 ERA, 1.11 WHIP. He's got a 3.59 expected ERA. Burke is a beast, but he didn't look the way last start. And now we have a situation where both of the pitchers that we've seen here are coming off bad starts. I don't mind, as I said before. I don't mind when you have a pitcher off of a bad start. It's a nice opportunity to bounce back. And why wouldn't Burke bounce back here? I know that his splits say that he's been better on the road than he's been at home, but I don't believe that that's. I wouldn't. Where would you rather have Sean Burke, at Rate Field or destination unknown? I'd rather have him at Rate Field. He just had a bad start against the Tigers. What did he do in his last start? And the Raiders just scored. Wow. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Cash the Raiders. Lose the unders. Still cash both live bets. I got no problems. Everything's fine. Everything's just fine. Okay, so back to this spot here. Look at these last home starts for Sean Burke. Tuesday, August 11th, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. The home start before that versus the Yankees, no earned runs over 6 innings. Home start before that, 2 earned runs over 6 innings. Home start before that, 1 earned run over 7 innings. He's shoving at home. So who cares that he was bad at home to start the year? It doesn't matter. Gaudy Gambler, I did not. I don't. I only bet the majors, and I just bet like a fan. I don't do much here. So with this all said and done, imagine I got plus 12.5 on the Raiders. Imagine if I took the money line then and missed the extra point. Hilarious. Okay. So again, I think this is a great bounce back opportunity here for Sean Burke. An excellent bounce back opportunity for Sean Burke. I think he can shove here. And then let's get to the bullpens. White Sox bullpen 3.45 ERA, 1.24 whip, pitching at a very high level. Mets bullpen 2.36 ERA, 1.09 whip. And these teams, now the White Sox are hitting lefties again. We were ahead of the curve on them starting to hit lefties again. They're starting to hit lefties again, and you can trust them to do it. Mets versus righties 243, 718 OPS. Now Minaya is able to get soft contact here. He's always been able to. So going up against a dangerous lineup is not too big of a concern. And he's been shutting everybody down. Let's take a look at the line history here. I wonder if just backing the White Sox alone is a better way than moving on unders. I'm not sure. First off, we've had 12 cents of movement towards this under 8. It was under 8 at minus 103. Now it's under 8 at minus 115. And then when we get to the money line the money line for this spot, we have a move towards the Mets. 4 cents of movement towards the Mets. That's interesting. So then let's see the price difference. I think this will be very telling as to whether we need the first 5 or if they're saying there's no advantage. So we have the Mets at plus 128 full game. First 5 plus 121. Interesting. So the White Sox are minus 142 full game and minus 142 first 5. Huh. Well, I think it's too expensive. I think it's too expensive to back Burke. I mean, we could take a first 5 minus a half with the way the White Sox are hitting lefties. We could. Great job, NJ Falls. We could do that. But I think this is telling us to move on unders. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We have 70% of the tickets, 62% of the cash on the White Sox, 89% of tickets, and 87% of cash on the over. I mean, I guess when you look at the statistical profile of these guys, I mean, Sean Burke is such a great profile, though. Mark Sasowski, I think there's a chance for today's one-hit performance kick the tail of a tired team coming home off the road in a 10-game-in-a-row streak. I may look at something for the White Sox if this lines up. I want to get involved in unders here, and then I want to get involved in Sean Burke. And I think that it would just be a first 5 minus a half because this is a tired White Sox squad, but I would want to utilize the fact that they're starting to hit lefties at a very high level. So that is the plan. So first 5, first game, unders. God, I'm going to have a lot of action tomorrow. Nothing wrong with that. And then it would be the White Sox first 5 minus a half. Now, I think I could wait on the first White Sox first 5 minus a half. I mean, we're getting no sign from the books that it's the move to make. So I might wait on that one, but the unders I want. We roll on. Thank you guys for joining us in Nightly Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Next spot on the board, Athletics 49-78, 26-38 on the road at the Houston Astros, 64-63, 32-32 at home. We're at Daikin Park in Houston, Texas. We have JT Ginn in the house going up against Hayden Wesneski. Let's talk about JT Ginn. So he's been really good this year. 3.53 ERA, 1.22 whip, 3.97 expected ERA. He developed a blister in his first start after the All-Star break. And he didn't pitch for a while. He didn't pitch. Man, Fresh, I love to hear that. What a score, man. Pumping everybody up for football. I love it, Fresh. So we have the blister. So his first start after the All-Star break was very good, but he developed a blister. Now, when you heard about Ginn, let's compare the blisters of Ginn and Lodolo. Lodolo has to throw his curveball differently. The curveball that he's been throwing for years, he has to throw differently because it's the curveball that gives him the blister. When you hear something like that, it's a red flag. There was no red. He didn't. I don't know exactly the reason why he got it out of the All-Star break, but he got the blister, and then he has pitched great. All 3 starts post blister, He has gone 6 innings in each. He hasn't looked quite as dominant, and he didn't look that good in that last start. But I have to keep reminding myself that we're talking about Sutter Health Park. And if you allow 4 earned runs over 6 innings, you've given your team a chance to win at Sutter Health Park in those offensive conditions. Let's talk about Hayden Wesneski here. Hayden Wesneski, 2-1, 5.16 ERA, 1.32 WHIPs, got a 4.46 expected ERA. 6th-round pick of the Yankees back in 2019 out of Sam Houston State. He was recovering he got Tommy John surgery in 2025, May of 2025. He made 5 rehab starts, and he looked very, very good. Very, very good. Then Wednesday, July 29th, he finally finishes rehab starts. He had a 2.25 ERA and a 1 WHIP, struck out 21 and walked 4 in his 20 innings. That was across Sugar Land and Corpus Christi, and there's even one start in the Florida Complex League. Wednesday, July 29th, he has his first start out of the All-Star break, a 7-4 win at the Angels, and he looks okay. Just okay. If you remember that was against Grayson Rodriguez, and we were on Grayson Rodriguez first 3 and first 5, and we cashed both of those. Again, that was before the Astros picked up Varsho. I know Grayson Rodriguez shut down the Astros again today to some extent, but that is a team, of course, that doesn't have left-handed bats, and Varsho gives him a third and whatever. Then the next start for Wesneski, it was at home versus the Jays, and he looked excellent. 2 earned runs over 6 innings. Start after that at the Giants, 3 earned runs over 7 innings. And then this last start at home, he didn't look good. 5 earned runs over 4 innings. 5 earned runs over 4 innings. I am negative towards Wesneski, and it's because I watch his starts, and I am jealous of the gamblers that don't watch their action because they don't have the biases that we have. Astros bullpen, 2.65 ERA, 1.01 WHIP. It's an enormous advantage over the Athletics. 6.71 ERA, 1.67 WHIP. Now both bullpens are exhausted. Which exhausted bullpen would you trust? Astros are hitting 254, 753 OPS versus righties. The A's aren't hitting righties, and they don't have any power against righties. And you look at their lineup, and there's no Kurtz, and there's no Rooker, and there's no Bangaliers. It's such a weak-ass lineup. They look like a team that's just giving in. They look like a team that we should fade every game for the rest of the year. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have a 7-cent move towards the Astros from -180 to -187. 7 cents of movement. Now, I like Ginn. Ginn gives him an opportunity to win, but if he does, it would be a low-scoring baseball game. From a total standpoint, it was an 8.5 -125 to the under. There's been a 5-cent move towards the over. When we take a look at the price difference here, first 5 in full game. Price difference-wise, we have the Astros at -186 full game. First 5 -179. Athletics full game are +166. First 5 +150. The problem is the Athletics are just not going to score you any runs. They're not going to score you any runs here. Rob Free says, do you think either the Braves or the Brewers score 5 runs? I'd have to go over it here. No, Robert Cherry, I'm not ready for NHL. I mean, still about 6.5 weeks before the start of the regular season, but I'm excited. So, Rob Free, if you're gonna be here, I would like just to keep rolling through, and then we'll revisit it. But I know that's the very first game that we talked about. So no, I don't like either of those teams to score 5 runs with Mizrowski Sale. No, but I'm sure you get an enormous payout if someone did, and it might be worth the risk reward. What are we talking here? Is there a huge payout for that bet? Because if there's a huge payout for that bet, then you would just have to judge it a little differently. But no, if it's like a pick'em type situation, I would say no, I would bet against it. So you can't bet JT Ginn. You can't bet the Athletics first 5 plus a half because you need them to score a run or 2 in those first 5 innings, and they're just incapable of doing it. So if you ever like the Athletics, you have to then take unders. I mean, that's the only option here. So I think Wesneski should have a nice bounce-back start against the weakest lineup that I've seen. And I think that Ginn can slow down the Astros. So let's take a look at this line history here We have that 8.5, 5 cents of movement to the over. So there's no point in moving early. We see that the Athletics, are much cheaper first five than full game. The difference is 16 cents. The first five under here in this one, under 4.5 minus 109. I think I could get down with that. I think I could get down with. I don't want to double up on it. So it would either be a first three under or a first five under. Or I'm not going to, this is not a 2-unit bet. Here. And then, if it was a blister issue for, which we know it was, I'm sure that, it's not an issue anymore for him, but you might want to focus on the first three rather than the first five. And then again, when I say that, we should probably wait here. But let's just take a look at what this first three would be, and we'll take a guess as to what it'd be. But if we see a 5 cent move to the over, I don't see why we would make any kind of move early. So the first three here let's see. The full game's 8.5 minus 120 to the under. So it should just be a pick 'em. I think that would be a good sign that the under's in play if it was first three minus 120 each way. It's not. It's 5 cents to the over, but that's fine. That's fine. Huh. So, yeah, I don't think that's worth it, Rob Free. I don't think either of those are worth it, personally. So I'm going to decide between the first three or the first five. And I guess I lean towards the first three. And I'm not going to bet both. Okay, we roll on. Next ball on the board, 8:10 p.m. Eastern. The Detroit Tigers, 61-66, 29-35 on the road at the Kansas City Royals, 54-74, 32-30 at home. Mark Sosowski says he can't back Wesneski. Says A's or nothing. I'm a big, disbeliever in Wesneski, and I think he can bounce back and shut down that weak ass A's lineup at home pretty easily. Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, minus 4% runs, plus 5% homers, minus 4% doubles and triples, and minus 4% singles. We have Troy Melton on the hill. What a pitcher he is. 1.71 ERA, 0.97 whip, 3.06 expected ERA. Missed the first 2 months while recovering from the right elbow strain, and he's been lights out ever since he began his rehab assignment. Remember last year he was just a bullpen piece for the Tigers. He's a big part of the reason why they were comfortable getting, Scooball obviously was a little different than Casey Mize, but why they were comfortable getting rid of both of them. We have Melton had some back issues in June. He got over it, and he's been pitching very, very well. And here we have another situation where Melton is coming off, like so many pitchers that we've talked about already, a poor start. So do we believe that Melton will bounce back? That start was at home. The start is on the road. It's an interesting situation. Now, look at his road numbers. They're insane. I mean, he's allowing less than 1 run over 9 innings on the road. Last time he was on the road, the Giants, he didn't allow a run. Last time, the start before that, he didn't allow a run over 7 innings at the Mariners. I mean, he had 3 straight scoreless starts before. This is a nice opportunity for him to bounce back. The tricky pitcher in this game is not Troy Melton. The tricky pitcher in this game is Noah Cameron. I find Noah Cameron just pitched. We were ahead of the curve with Noah Cameron. We've done some things well this year. We've done some things poorly, but Noah Cameron we handled really well. And he's been shoving, and we've been getting paid consistently. Post All-Star break, he had allowed 1 run in his first 3 starts. Then he got touched up for 4 earned runs over 5 2/3. I lost, so I take that back. It was a 6-5 extra inning loss to the Dodgers, but I didn't win the whatever. I can't remember what bet I had, but I lost the bet in that one. Sunday, August 16th, his last start, he threw a 1-hitter in 9 innings. The problem is he threw a season-high 115 pitches. He's throwing 100-plus pitches in 3 straight starts. And the fact that he's throwing 100-plus pitches in 3 straight starts made the 115 easier. If he's going 82, 89, 115, then, that's a red flag. 115 after throwing 2 games with 100 or more. He's thrown 100 more in lots of games this year, but obviously that was a season high. I think the more I say it, the more comfortable I get with it. Now, it's hard to follow that up, but he has already just done it. On July 30th, he allowed 1 hit over 8 innings in a 4-3 loss at the Twins. What did he do to bounce? What did he do in the next start? He did it again. He allowed one run over 8 innings at home, which is where he's here. Talked about the bullpens. Royals bullpen, 4.50 ERA, 1.42 it being a little better. Oh, and you see the splits there with Noah Cameron. His numbers are bad at home. Again, I don't put too much emphasis into that. I don't. Dougie White says Royals have lined my pockets 2 days in a row. Witt Jr. has brought great energy to them. It's too bad that Caglione hurt his ankle. I'm not sure how long he's supposed to be out for. Dewan says the Tigers get us paid tomorrow. The bullpen advantage for the Tigers is real, although the Kansas City bullpen is fresh. It's a real advantage. 3.63 ERA, 1.23 WHIP for the Tigers. But when it comes to the sticks, neither team is hitting. The Tigers are not hitting lefties. 230, 658 OPS. And the Royals are not hitting righties. 234, 679 OPS. Now, maybe Cags is back. That's worth finding out. Another important piece of this is our guy Ronnie Crawford. The shotgun play of the day is in. And the shotgun play of the day is the Detroit Tigers. All right. So let's take a look at the line history here and see how we want to attack it. First off, this total has moved 23 cents to the over. Wow. This opened up minus 102 to the over 8. Now it's minus 125 to the over 8. 8.5s at most of these books. That is a bit of a surprise. Let's get to the money line here. Money line wise, we have a very slight move to the Royals from plus 107 to plus 104. God damn, that's a mess. 16-3 for the Niners. I should have just bet the Niners because the line was... I got to start trusting those spots. 6.5 point dogs when they're dominating the Titans in their joint practices. A pick 'em when the Chargers are dominating them in the joint practices. So, with this all said and done here, the fact that this is moved towards the over tells me that both pitchers are vulnerable. I find that very difficult to believe. Let's take a look at the price difference, first 5 in full game. We have, and then look, the market got me off of that White Sox Atlanta Braves first 300. I'm still angry about that. We have the Kansas City Royals plus 108 full game. First 5 minus 107. Look at that. 15-cent difference. Wow. I did not expect that. You know what? I need to sit with this game. This is... I need to... I mean... But I think it's clear that the books are telling us that Melton is vulnerable, and that is a hard thing to believe. So they're not telling us that it's Cameron who's going to shove, because if that was the case, I'm not saying that they're saying he's going to get hit, but if they were saying that this is no Cameron's going to go out there and shove, well, he's going up against Troy Melton. Wouldn't this line have moved 20 cents to the under? So Jim Dewigger, not scared that it's gone from 8 to 8.5. Hino Ball has the pick 'em at first 5. Yeah, that's basically what it is here. It's minus 107 for the Royals, minus 109 for the Tigers, but the Tigers minus 119 full game. All right, there's a lot of conjecture along the market with this one. I'm going to not move on anything tonight. We'll hammer this again in manana. So the solution says market saying one of these pitchers gets touched. I agree with that. All right, let's roll on. Next spot on the board is a tricky spot. We talked about the Trevor Rogers, Peralta seeing each other again immediately. These two pitchers are seeing each other again with one start in between. So this is interesting. Reed Detmers going up against Mackenzie Gore. They just faced each other a week and a half ago. Angels 50-77, now 51-77, now 22-41 on the road. At the Texas Rangers, 62-65, 33-28 at home at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Reed Detmers, 3.78 ERA, 1.06 WHIP, 3.32 expected ERA. So Detmers for me, and his numbers have changed. Earlier, not that long ago, I'm talking like a month ago, 3 weeks ago, he had slightly better numbers on the road than he did at home. And I was saying, dude, this makes no sense. Reed Detmers you back him at home. He had a couple bad starts at home early in the year, and then he started shoving. Reed Detmers is a hell of a pitcher. He faced the Rangers when he was at home. And it was a 4-1 loss, but he allowed 1 earned run over 6 innings. His last 2 starts have been at home. He's allowed 1 earned run over his last 14 innings. Now, this is exactly, and I mean exactly. He also, don't forget, just before I get into this connect, he faced the Rangers in that start right before the All-Star break, and he got touched up for 5 earned runs over 4 innings and 3 jacks. So then he faces them at home and he shoves. This is exactly the situation that Walbert Urena was in. The Angels have had this all these home games post All-Star break. So their pitchers have been sitting at home completely in their comfort zone, right in their rhythm. And we watch Walbert Urena get touched up for 3 earned runs in, 4 innings or 5 innings? And that's unlike Walbert Urena. Well, you could say the exact same thing about Reed Detmers. Walbert Urena had 2 1/3 innings on the road post All-Star break. All Reed Detmers has had is 4 innings on the road. And he's coming off just spectacular performance. 8 innings, 2 hits, 11 Ks, no walks, and 1-0 win at home over the Royals. Let's talk about McKenzie. So, look, I think I would rather, if I'm building a baseball team, I'll take Reed Detmers over Mackenzie Gore. But I don't like the situation for Reed here. And look, it is. Look who it is. Jose Bouquet in the house. Our friend Jose. I will send pictures and stories from the Summit of Champions, my friend. Going to the Argos Ticats game right after. And next year, you will be here. You will be here. I got Bobano and TJ crashing at the house. All that's missing is Jose Bouquet. Oh, 1 hole. Mackenzie Gore, 7-9, 4.45 ERA, 1.26 whip, 3.85 expected ERA. And this is a pretty interesting spot because there was no way when I was building my worksheet that I was, because if you pull everything off AI, maybe you have a great worksheet. Maybe you have a better worksheet than I have. But when you build your worksheet through painstaking writing out each pitcher's start, you're thinking about the starts that they have. You're thinking about everything you write down. And while I was writing all this down, I didn't think that I would end up on Mackenzie Gore. Now, I didn't do the connect to Walbert Urena when I was building my worksheet. Now I've done that connect. I also know that the Rangers hit lefties much harder than the Angels, but let's stay with Mackenzie Gore. Last start, 5 2/3, 3 earned runs, and a 5-3 win at the Athletics. Now that's at Sutter Health Park. That's a tough place to pitch. And here we have a pitcher, and you can see his splits. He's much better at home. He faced the Angels on the road, and he only made it through 5 1/3. But he struck out 9, and he walked 2. So this is such an interesting game. So let's talk about the bullpens. The Angels have a huge advantage when it comes to the bullpen. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. Rangers bullpen 4.85 ERA, 1.50 whip. Angels bullpen 3.28 ERA, 1.26 whip. Then on the sticks here, the Angels just can't hit lefties. 220, 603 OPS. Rangers versus lefties, 244, 704 OPS. It's not like they have power against lefties, but they certainly hit them harder. And it really helps to have Seager back. Let's take a look at this line history. Mackenzie Gore is at minus 140. The Rangers are at minus 140. We'll look at the price difference between the first 5 and full game. When it comes to the total here, we have a 7.5 minus 120 to the under. 15 cents of movement towards the under. Let's get to the price difference on Penny. First 5 and full game price difference. We have a minus 140 on the full game. First 5 minus 140 as well. So the Angels are plus 126 full game. First 5 plus 120. It's kind of a tricky game to bet here. The Angels coming off putting up 16 runs. Let's see what the cash flow is for this spot. We have 74% of the tickets on the Rangers and 89% of the cash. The Rangers are much more expensive here on the legal books than they are on the offshores. 67% of tickets on the under and 81% cash on the over. Well, look, I want to attack Reed Detmers. I want to fade Reed Detmers. I haven't said that all year. So this is the 4th time he has seen the Rangers. And look what he's done at home against the Rangers. The first time he saw them at home, 8 innings, 1 earned run, struck out 14. It was the best start of his season. Next time he faces the Rangers, it's on the road here in Arlington. and they get him for, how is it? Oh man, I've lost it now. I've got too many starts here. So he shuts them down on May 24th. And then, there, July 9th. At the Rangers, he gets touched up. Now, Dougie Y says he'd have to consider Rangers first 5, but that's the problem, Dougie, is that they're still minus 140. So we'd have to take him first 5 minus a half at plus 103. And it's really uncomfortable to take a minus a half in a game where there is low volatility. It was something I made mistakes in early when I first went down to Costa Rica. Was taking first 5 minus a halves hurt me. They've hurt me. I have a negative ROI on them. I don't want them. First 5 money lines, I have a positive ROI. It's great. So with all of this being said, I want the Rangers, and I think it's best to do that early. But then you'd have to take the first 5 minus a half, which I would like not to do. So it's going to take a lot of thought here to figure out. Texas last 5 versus left-handed pitching. The worst performance was against Detmers. And again, though, right, Mark, that was in Anaheim. Yeah, I think that's the move. It might have to be Rangers first 5 minus a half. I did not think I'd be fading Detmers here when I was building this. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board, 8:40 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Guardians, 61 and 66, 31 and 32 on the road at the Colorado Rockies, 50 and 77, 27 and 35 at home. We're at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Extremely offensive conditions here, as always. Plus 39% runs, though. Wow. Plus 29% homers, plus 27% doubles and triples, and plus 21% singles. I don't hear anybody talking about the basketball game. It's not a good sign for me. Oh, God. Now it's 84-53. The Dream's got to let go. They're going to let go here. Come on, let go. Just sit on the bench. Let's talk about Guardians Rockies. We have Joey Cantillo, 3.80 ERA, 1.44 WHIP, 3.88 expected ERA. So his start on August 9th, he got off to a bad start at right field in Chicago. Maybe the weather was messing with him. There was a long rain delay, and he didn't come back after 2 hours. And then he shoved in his next start at home versus the Padres. I want him at home. I want to back him at home. It's on the road that I find him more vulnerable. Let's see when Swiggy puts up these splits from Joey Cantillo, because I can look over these road starts, and they're not pretty. So let's see if we can. Yeah, so it's slight difference. 3.56 ERA at home, 4.02 on the road. And he's going up against Tanner Gordon. Tanner hasn't started a game since July 10th, and he looked good in that start. 5 innings, he allowed 1 run. After that start, he was the long relief man in the bullpen. And so he's got a 5.55 ERA, 1.44 WHIP, 4.84 expected ERA. He's got a great K to walk ratio. There's times when you watch Tanner Gordon pitch and you're like, God, this guy's got good stuff. 62 strikeouts and 13 walks is quite good here. AM saying Mabry out Friday versus the Fire. Thank you for sharing that with us. And that's why the line moved. Thank you. Let's talk about these bullpens. Rockies bullpen, 4.47 ERA, 1.49 WHIP. Guardians bullpen, 4.60 ERA, 1.46 WHIP. Now, we see the trajectory of both bullpens moving in the right direction. We've been expecting this from the Guardians bullpen for some time, and they're starting to show it. And then when it comes to the sticks, it's the same deal. They're not hitting with power. They added the fortifications at the deadline that don't seem to be helping. Guardians are hitting 242 with a 685 OPS. Rockies versus lefties, 242, 694 OPS. Rockies numbers are moving in the right direction. The Guardians numbers they're still dropping. Let's take a look at this line history. We have an 11.5 minus 120 to the under. Now it's an 11 juice to the under. Interesting. Wow. As if we could get a 10.5 tomorrow. Who would have thunk that? Wow. Can you put Tanner Gordon's Can you put Tanner Gordon's statistical profile back up here? What are his numbers at home? Horrible. Horrible. Unbelievably bad. I didn't realize they were that extreme. Wow, okay. We have a 14-cent move towards the Guardians. from minus 138 to minus 152. The question you have to ask yourself is this minus 138 here, uh, you know, does that make sense? And it does. When I first saw the minus 138, I was like, oh man, they're sitting there expecting they're going to get a ton of Guardians cash. But then I looked closer. I was like, why would it be different? I mean, the Guardians are a game under 500 at home. Rockies are only 8 games under 500 at home. They're much better at home than they are on the road. Now, you could look at the two starting pitchers and say, no, the Guardians should be minus 160. And that's sort of what I thought, But the more I sat with it, I was like, no, I guess I can see this. We'll go to the cash flow here, and what is our expectation? Our expectation is that the it's an interleague, that the Guardians will get all the money. 85% of the tickets, 70% of the cash. 87% of tickets on the over and 90% of cash on the over. I mean, basically what they're telling us right now, like what Robert Cherry is saying, is basically they're telling us that there's a shot with Gordon first 5 and that he's going to pitch well. I mean, why else would this go from 11.5 to an 11 juice to the under? Let's see what Pinnacle has for this one. They've got the Rockies at plus 132 full game. First 5 plus 117. Wow. They think Tanner Gordon can pitch here. I'm going to have to sit with this for longer. It just really feels like back in the Rockies is optional misery. I handled not back in the Rockies pretty well when the Dodgers came to town because we were making money off the Rockies when they went to L.A., and it was very hard for me to stay off here. Rod's Wag says, bet under the total in Cleveland road games. There's NL teams scoring 4.5 runs or more on the season. On this record since 2024, 26-7. And then Mark Sasowski says, why remove the full game if you're on Colorado? Because Mark Sasowski's saying Cleveland's bullpen is taxed. And the reason why I think that one would do that is just because you have a cognitive bias in your head. And that's if you're going to back the Rockies, you want to keep their bullpen out of it. Without thinking that they might have better numbers than the Guardians bullpen, which they have their equal numbers. And I would think the same thing. When I'm on a bigger dog, I want to cut the game down. So I can understand why that would be the first plan or first thought. So I'm going to need more time with that one. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board, 9:40 p.m. Eastern, with the Cincinnati Reds at the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Reds are 61-66, 29-31 on the road at the Diamondbacks, 67-61, 36-27 at home. Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. The Ketel Marte saga continues on. He's now getting his back checked out. God, it's my 5th cup of coffee today. His knees. He's getting his knee checked out from some doctor. I think we don't know if it's real or fake. We don't know what the hell's going on with Ketel Marte. All I know is he's a very, very good baseball player, and it sucks that he's not available right now. The solution, looking at the Guardians to win, Ramirez over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Let's talk about Slick Nick Lodolo. We're in Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Roof closed, of course. So Lodolo, we talked about Lodolo and Ginn and their blister issues. We talked about Ginn not having to do anything, not change anything. And Lodolo has been having these reoccurring blister issues all year. So he has a modified grip now for his curveball. And he looked bad in his first start. And then he looked much better in his second start. His first start came against the White Sox. We know that they're hitting lefties harder, much harder than they were. And then when we look at him versus the Marlins, he shuts down a Marlins team that's not hitting lefties hard. He can't go deep into games because of these blister issues. Can we sell him high right now? Or has he found comfort now in his new grip? Lodolo is a tricky pitcher here. He's a tricky pitcher to get. I bet the first 5 over, and you guys know I barely bet overs, maybe 1 out of every 10, maybe. And we cashed that first 5 over in Lodolo's last start, or second to last start, Tuesday. I didn't cap his game on Sunday. Let's talk about Eduardo Rodriguez. What a season he's having. Had Jose in the chat, his fellow Venezuelan left-handed pitcher, just like Young Bouquet. 12-4, 2.71 ERA, 1.21 whips, got a 4.71 expected ERA. Rod's Wag says, bet on Nick Lodolo and road starts on the run line versus an NL team with a batting average of 250 or worse. Lodolo's team record since the 2025 season, 10-0. Rod, are you able to see what his record is in 2026 on that angle? Because he was awesome last year. Do I have his? I usually have their 25, 2020. I don't have for Lodolo, but Eduardo Rodriguez, let's talk about him. He's been so good. Got to pitch in the All-Star game. Got destroyed in his first start after the All-Star game. Look, he probably partied a little too hard. He's a fun-loving guy. Like, people love Eduardo. His last start, quality start. He's had 2 straight quality starts. He's had 4 quality starts out of 5 since the debacle after the All-Star break. He's pitching at a high level, and they're winning his games, and they love him. Last start, 2 earned runs over 6 innings, 10-3 win at the Braves. Start before that, 2 earned runs over 7 innings in a 4-2 win at home versus the Dodgers. 82-65 now, Aces. Well, it will be 8 games in a row in WNBA if we catch this, and then the Sparks will make it go away. That's too bad. They're now down 32. Okay, let's roll. Reds bullpen 4.25 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. Diamondbacks 4.96, 1.37 WHIP. Ugly. Diamondbacks versus lefties, they're raking right now. 283, 827 OPS. Reds are just 211, 601 OPS. The concern here is that Lodolo has figured out the grip and figured everything out now. That is the concern. And Dwan talking about that heartbreak today, and what a game that was. That was the Cardinals-Reds game was insane. So let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have a 5-cent move towards Eduardo Rodriguez from minus 140 to minus 145. I think just the way Arizona hits the lefties right now, that is quite appealing. From a total standpoint here, we have no movement, 8.5 minus 120 to the under, just sitting there. And then when we get to the price difference, first 5 and full game price difference here, we have the Diamondbacks are minus 145 full game, first 5 minus 145. So Lodolo plus 131 full game is plus 123 first 5, which means that the fact that the Diamondbacks are raking against lefties, now Ketel Marte helps, but isn't a part of this whole equation. And we have Rod's Wife says, bet under the total of Nick Lodolo starts against NL West opponents on his record since 2025, 8-0. Huh. And they did find Ketel, but now he's saying that he's got a knee injury, and he's getting looked at. It's not a good sign. And he's such a great ball player. Steve G in the house, great to see you. Well, obviously we've got some trends that say back Lodolo, but and maybe he's got the whole blister situation in control. But God, how would I not want to back Rodriguez in the way the Diamondbacks are hitting lefties? And then stay away from the Diamondbacks bullpen, even though both bullpens are tired. The Reds bullpen looked terrible today. So I guess it would be the Arizona first 5 minus a half. But again, I just went on a rant about how I don't want minus halves. Now, at least we got some implied volatility in this game, unlike a 7.5 or a 7. All right, let's roll on. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. I'm interested in the Diamondbacks, but I got to sit with it for longer. 9:40 p.m. Eastern, the Minnesota Twins, 63-65, 28-34 on the road at San Diego Padres, 68-60, 37-26 at home at Petco Park in San Diego, California. Let's take a look at the weather conditions here at Petco. Minus 7% runs, plus 1% homers, minus 13% doubles and triples, and minus 6% singles. Mark Sosowski is on Arizona money line. Interesting. Thank you for the heads up there, buddy. We have Connor Prelip. Oh, Connor Prelip, man. And look at that. Ace is just running away. It's too bad that I added the Sparks, but I added the Wings too, so just lose a little bit of vig. We have Prelip. We've talked a lot about Prelip. You guys know he's already had 2 Tommy John surgeries. He's never gone more than 83 2/3 in a professional outing. So they're giving him tons of rest in between starts. And it doesn't seem to be affecting him too bad until that last start. 8 earned runs over 5 innings, 9-1 loss at home to the Phillies. Is this the opportunity for him to bounce back? He doesn't have a rhythm where he doesn't pitch every certain amount of days. And I wonder if the books have him listed here? Take a quick check and see if the books have him listed here. I was on my live action. on, let's go. Here we go. So let's see. Do the books have him listed? No, they don't even have the game up. So we should wait. We should wait. I expect it to be Prelip versus Vasquez. That is our expectation. So we'll do a little bit of due diligence here. First off, Prelip has allowed 14 earned runs in his last 15 and a third. He's never pitched this many innings in a professional season in his life. Is he vulnerable here? We have Randy Vasquez expected 4.30 ERA, 1.38 whip. Got a 5.84 expected ERA. Rod Zwicky is Musgrove? Come on. Really? Let's just see here. Joe Musgrove? Wow. Musgrove is back? Wow, I see it too. Holy okay, so that's exciting. Okay, well that's going to require study. Wow. That is going to that's going to require some study. So we'll just touch Musgrove, the old Pirate. Let's just touch on very quickly on Joe, and then I'll do a deeper dive after the show here. But let's touch on Joe. Wow. So it was October 2024 that he had the Tommy John. God damn, that's been a long, long, long time. He allowed 5 earned runs on 9 hits and 1 walk while striking out 5 across 4 2/3 Friday in his rehab start with AAA El Paso. He built up to 70 pitches. He got 95.2 on his fastball. I don't need a pitcher like Joe Musgrove, an older pitcher, to shove in a rehab start. I just need to know that he's throwing hard. Wow. Okay. Well, that's gonna take some study here. That's gonna take some study. Let's roll on. But very quickly, both bullpens are pitching at a very high level. Padres bullpen 3.26 ERA, 1.17 whip. Twins bullpen is somehow piecing it together with some pretty weak pieces. They're an overused bullpen at this point. 3.57 ERA, 1.40 whip. The Padres don't have power against left-handers at all. They're hitting with no K average, but with no power at all. Over the last 30 days, 247, 694. And the Twins have Buxton back, and you can see it changing them immediately, but they're still 233, 671 over the last 30 days. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board, and it is the Cubbies game. We got 2 games left in MLB. I need to speed this up a little bit. 10 p.m. Eastern, Chicago Cubs, Seattle Mariners. We're at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. Matt Boyd, man, what the hell's going on with him? He's been pretty easy to cap so far this year. So he has the left bicep strain early in the year. That's in April. He takes 21 days. He comes back and he just doesn't look right. And then it's a meniscus injury in his left knee. And then during the rehab, he has shoulder soreness. So then he's on the shelf from May 23rd till June 25th. He comes off the shelf and he looks great. We're backing him. We're getting paid. They're winning all of his starts. They won his first 6 starts, and then when they lost the 7th start, Boyd shoved. He didn't let him run over 7 innings. They lost in extras at the Cardinals, and then he gets crushed at home versus the Dodgers. 4 earned runs. They hit 2 jacks. Very, very strange. Then he bounces back at the Royals, 2 earned runs over 7 innings, and then he comes home to face the Cardinals, and he gets annihilated for 7 earned runs over 5 1/3. So he has allowed 7 home runs in his last 3 starts. Very strange, and I don't trust him right now. Let's talk about Emerson Hancock. We do have an angle to fade Emerson Hancock, the Mariners. Rod Zwicky says, bet against Seattle on the money line versus NL team scoring 4.5 or more runs a game in the second half of the season. Seattle's record since the 2025 season, 3-14. DeJuan says, Boyd bounces back. Mariners coming off a long road trip. Give me the Cubs. Hancock, 3.30 ERA, 1.11 whip. It's got a 3.98 expected ERA. I don't have to defend him anymore. Now, some of the guys I would defend him against last year are still with us, but there's a couple that never came back after I went off on them. Look, Saturated in the house. Saturated. Man, I've been meaning to get in touch with you. Saturated is great to see you. Saturated is here, which means the NBA will be here shortly. Oh, Saturated, you're a sight for sore eyes, man. Let's talk about Hancock. He has been really good. Last start, Saturday, August 15th, 2 earned runs over 7 innings and a 10-5 win at the Astros. He has been just good. I'd say just good. right now. Start before that, 4 2/3, 2 earned runs, and a 4-1 loss at home versus the Rays. That wasn't very good in run suppressing weather at T-Mobile. Start before that, 3 earned runs over 6, an 8-0 loss at home versus the Tigers. Start before that, 3 earned runs over 5 innings at the Dodgers. These are good enough starts. They're just not great starts, and then I expect that from Hancock. But that last start was a thing of beauty at the Astros. And when we look at the home-road splits, there's not much of them, but he pitches better at home, and who wouldn't? The Mariners bullpen, 6.78 ERA, 1.58 WHIP. They have now usurped the Athletics for the worst bullpen in Major League Baseball. And then we have the Cubbies bullpen, 3.05 ERA, 1.17 WHIP. Great job, Robert. Love seeing you crush. Cubbies versus righties, 245, 732 OPS. They're hitting them hard. So the Mariners have the worst bullpen in baseball, and they don't hit lefties. They're so much less than the sum of their parts. 218 average with a 655 OPS. But I don't trust Boyd right now. So let's take a look at this line history here. We've had no movement on this total. It's a 7.5 juice to the over at -125. I didn't take a good look at the weather at T-Mobile. It's not very run suppressing. Just -5% runs, +4% homers, -13% doubles, triples, -5% singles. So we'll go into the money line here. There we go. And from a money line standpoint, we've had 10 cents of movement towards Hancock from +105 to -105. I do kind of agree with that. Let's get to the price difference here for the Mariners. They're -104 full game. Now, I would like to see 15-cent price difference, or at least over 12 cents. So let's see a -119. First 5, -110, 6 cents. That's not enough, really. That means the Cubs are -106 full game, -106 first 5. Wow. So when it's all said and done, I want to attack Boyd. But, man, we can't trust the Mariners to hit lefties. We just need Hancock to completely outpitch Matt Boyd. I've watched Matthew Boyd for so long. I remember when he was traded for Price in 2016 when the Jays had their run. And we were upset that he was part of that package. I just want to see what was Boyd getting. No, because Matthew Boyd got annihilated by the Cardinals for 4 home runs. Cardinals aren't hitting lefties hard. Now it was the second time they'd seen him. The first time he shut them down at the Cardinals. All right, I'm gonna need some time with this one. I have interest in the Mariners. First 5, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. The solution is going to be on the Cubbies money line. All right, let's roll on to our final spot on the Major League card, 10:10 p.m. Eastern. We have the Pittsburgh Pirates, 63-66, 29-34 on the road at the LA Dodgers, 77-51, 37-26 at home. We're at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California, Chavez Ravine. Let's take a look at the weather here for Dodger Stadium. Very offensive for Dodger Stadium. It's hot in LA. It's even for runs, but +18% homers, +4% doubles and triples, and -10% singles. Very hot, but I guess I take that back a little bit. The weather's is changing nothing for runs and changing nothing for homers. It's just adding 7% to the doubles and triples. So I think I can. Sweetie says Chandler rolling ERA 2.33 since the All-Star break. Look, this is another pitcher where I just see the difference when he walks onto the mound. We were talking about it. This guy had 31 strikeouts and 4 walks last year when he came up over 31 in the third. And then he just didn't have it. He didn't look like a bulldog on the mound. He didn't look confident. And he was getting touched up. And then something switched. Something turned on for him. He had a great June. He got touched up at the end of June and beginning of July. And then he started shoving again. The last couple starts, he's not going as deep as you'd want him to go into games, but he looks good. 2 earned runs over 5 innings at home versus the Red Sox. No earned runs over 6 innings at home versus the Mets. So he's back-to-back home starts. When we take him back on the road, he has pretty much similar numbers than he has at home. The last time he was on the road, 2 earned runs over 5 2/3 at the Brewers. Before that, it was 0 earned runs over 6 1/3 at the Yankees. I think he's bet on, Bubba Chandler. Now, let's talk about the robot Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The guy is as professional as you get. I mean, every start he goes at least 6. He's absolutely incredible. He's an unbelievable pitcher. Last time we saw him, Friday, August 14th, 1 run over 6 innings at home versus the Brewers. So now he's got consecutive home starts, which is, God, he's so good. Now, the last time that he had consecutive home starts, he got lit up for 6 earned runs over 6 innings at home versus the Diamondbacks. It didn't make a ton of sense, and he bounced back with aplomb in the next one, 9 innings, 2 earned runs, and 8-2 win at the Yankees. So, Dewan saying, how did we miss not moving on the Chargers? I got those live bets meant a ton to me. I don't need to move on the Chargers right now. I'm very comfortable here. I just want to catch that under. It looks like I'm going to lose the live bet in the WNBA. Oh, I'm definitely. Ugh, God. Damn it. But, I bet a lot more on football than on basketball, so everything's fine. Robert Cherry says Dodgers minus 2.5 and full game. The solution says Dodgers have way too many hitters. Bubba getting bubbled. The solution saying Dodgers winning it all. Doug White says Dodgers smack. So a lot of love here for the Dodgers. There's the idea that the Dodgers are going to turn it on now and that they've been kind of, messing around. Clearly, Yamamoto is an absolute monster, though. Last 2 starts, 11 2/3, 7 hits, 1 earned run. Bullpen-wise, the Dodgers' bullpen is a problem. 5.07 ERA, 1.40 WHIP. It was sort of a problem for them last year, and they still won the chip. Pirates' bullpen, 3.49 ERA, 1.33 WHIP. Pirates' bullpen pitching much better than the Dodgers' bullpen. Then when it comes to the sticks, we have Pirates versus righties, 235, 674. It's just ugly. The Dodgers are hitting again. 252, 731 OPS versus righties. I mean, it's not much. It's nothing like they were doing before, but they're starting to hit again. Let's take a look at this line history here, and it's just slightly moving up. We have the Dodgers sitting here at minus 230, just sitting there at minus 230. When we get to the no movement, when we get to the total for this spot, we have an 8 minus 110 to the under. Well, I like Bubba Chandler in this spot. And I also think that he might be able to get us 9 outs. Let's take a look here at what we'd be getting here quickly. I'm very curious to see if this is the move that should be made. Let's go over to the... So it's a minus 115 to the over at 8. So I expect minus 125 to the first 3 under. I don't know why it would be that much more expensive than that. Now, maybe it's because of the bullpen's weakness, and so maybe it will be. But let's see. The first 3 under 2.5 is a pick 'em. I find that very appealing. And then the first 3 plus a half is minus 120 for the Pirates. Well, I want both of those. I want the first 3 plus a half for Pittsburgh. I think Bubba can get me 9 outs. And then I want the first 3 under 2.5. They correlate. Then get out. I like that. Shorty, I like that. All right, that's Major League Baseball for Friday, August 21st. Let's do a quick review of action. I didn't come with any action here. Shotgun play of the day from Ronnie Crawford is the Detroit Tigers. I've got a ton of action on the early section of the card, less on the later. Unders in the Braves-Brewers game. First 3, first 5, first 7. Now, am I going to be able to, take a first 3 under 1.5 at like minus 115 when I have a colleague in Mark Sosowski who got such a better line? Can I get over the jealousy and all that? We'll see, but I want unders. And maybe just 2, but first 3, first 5, first 7 when I'm looking at. Maybe it's better. I'll sit with it. Maybe just first 3, first 7. Then I want unders in Cardinals, Phillies. First 3 under, first 5 under, and then Phillies first 5 minus a half. Then first 5 over, and Yankees first 3, first 5 in Blue Jays, Yankees. Fading Arrighetti. Then first 3 under 2.5, first 5 under 4, and the Giants first 5 plus a half in Giants Red Sox. Good on a ton of action tomorrow. Washington first 5 plus a half and full game. But the question is, should I wait? A lot of Rob Free and Sharpie saying that it's probably worth waiting here on the Nationals. I love the Will Dion breakdown. That was a lot of fun. Orioles first 5. Back in Trevor Rogers to do it again. First 5 under and full game under in Mets White Sox. I don't know why I would take a first 5 over a first 3, so I won't. That would be a first 3 under and a full game under, and then I'll take the White Sox first 5 minus a half. Then the first 3 under or the first 5 under. I don't know if I want both at this point in the Astros-A's game. Then I slow down. Tigers, Royals, I'm going to wait on. I'm surprised that's gone from 8 to 8.5. I want the Rangers first 5, but I'm going to have to take a minus a half. Against, I think I can be fine. Like I didn't expect to be on Gore over Detmers, but now I understand it. Then we have Guardians, Rockies. I have no action. I love seeing it move to the under. Arizona first 5 is another spot where I have to take a minus a half, which is not very appealing. Yeah. You're funny. Then the Joe Musgrove now pitching for San Diego. It's going to require some study. I have a lot of interest in the Mariners first 5, but I'm not going to move on that tonight. Would like to see the market move in that direction. And then the Pirates first 3 plus a half and the first 3 under 2.5 and Pirates Dodgers I move on tonight. And that is Major League Baseball. Well, let's move on to the NFL here. Let's move on to the NFL. The team total for the Texans, I would have cashed if they didn't have the pick 6. And so I'm okay. I'm okay with everything. And I would have for sure cashed it if we were right about C.J. Stroud not playing, which is what D'Amico Ryans told us. Now, these coaches are allowed to change their mind, and maybe C.J. Stroud said, look, I want to get some action in. I want to cash the under 37.5 here. That's what the live number is. I'm not going to bet it here. And Dewan says Ace has got us paid. So that would be our 8th straight win in WNBA. Unfortunately, we're about to lose and not go to 9 straight. So let's get into, and triple stacked. Nice job, Johnny. Let's get into the NFL here. 7 p.m. Eastern in the NFL. It's nice because I did text TJ at 2 in the morning telling him to bet the Aces. So at least, friends are better friends when they fill your pockets. Let's roll. 7 p.m. Eastern with the New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're at Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 75 Fahrenheit, sunny, 4-mile-per-hour winds. We got AM here on the under 39.5. That is appealing. Aaron Glenn, 1-3 in preseason football. Much better than he is in the regular season. Mike McCarthy, 33-34, but he clearly cares right now, as do the rest of the Steelers. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. First off, this total opened up at 39.5. Now it's at 36.5. So AM crushed that. Wow. So this had similar movement as the Raiders-Texans game. Opened up at 39.5. Went down to 36.5. Went down and then came back up to 38. And then went back down to 36. Wow. Now it's at 36.5, and it's juiced to the over. We'll see if it moves up. It's 37s at a lot of these books, and some of these offshores have 37.5. From a point spread standpoint here, the Jets open up at +3. Now they're -2. A massive, massive move towards the Jets. I don't bet full units on these preseason games, but I bet 66% of a unit. So I bet $200 on them. But no, I don't bet full units on them. Now, if I start running hot in the preseason, I will. Rod's Wacky says take the over here. Let's talk about the spot, but let's talk about the cash flow first here in this one. We have 77% of tickets, 74% of cash on Pittsburgh And they've moved from -3 to +2. It's an alarming move. 68% of tickets on the under and 83% of cash on the under. Alarming. Let's talk about it here. The Jets come in off a 24-16 loss at home to the Buccaneers in week 1 of the preseason. Now, we thought Aaron Glenn had told us that Geno Smith was going to start, but he had ankle soreness, so he didn't start, and Cade Klubnik started. Geno Smith will be starting here. So it'll be Geno Smith and then some order of Zappe, Cook, and Klubnik. We imagine Klubnik would be second, Zapp third, and Brady Cook fourth. Klubnik had 2 drives, and the Jets racked up 10 points. He looked good, 5 of 7 for 56 yards. He was replaced by Zappe, who had an interception return, 47 yards for a touchdown. That was ugly. And then in his second series, he also got picked off. First one by Aiden Garnes, second one by Rashad Wisdom. Zappe finished 6 of 10 for 55 yards and 2 interceptions before he was replaced by Brady Cook. Of course, Cook started the final 4 games for the Jets last season and looked abysmal. New York's reeling still with some injuries that are very costly. Breece Hall and their first-round pick, Kenyon Sadiq, are hurt. Steelers are very good in their season-opening 28-9 victory at home over the Packers. Mason Rudolph started. He went 10 of 11 for 93 yards. It looked really good. And then we had the Allard-Will Howard combo, and it was great. Allard threw for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course, Allard from Penn State, 10 of 13 for 154 yards, 5-yard touchdown pass, and a 5-yard and 4-yard touchdown pass. Then Will Howard came in. Will Howard drafted in the 6th round, of course, leading Ohio State to the college football championship. 7 of 9 passing for 86 yards. So who would have thought that Allard and Howard would combine to go 17 of 22 for 239 yards and 3 touchdowns? The reason why we bring it up is that McCarthy has said he's resting Rodgers and Rudolph. So it's Will Howard and Drew Allard who are getting all of this love. Just so much love here. Oh, Chargers pick 6. That's not good for my under. Damn it. And we're not. That sucks. These pick 6s are with these low totals, as you know, they're gonna. All right. Thank you for the heads up. AM says since 2004 in the preseason, teams off a 10-point win and now playing at home have struggled. 76-113-4 against the spread. And AM says he'll be adding the Jets. It's a big move here. It's hard not to. I mean, I don't know if I could handle being on the ass end of the line, even though a 3 to a 2 isn't the worst case scenario. But I don't know if I could handle that at this point. Rod Swag says these big line moves of 1.5 or more are 0-8 against the spread in this preseason. 0-8, which I imagine will change here when the Niners are victorious. But yes, the big line moves and Rod Swag has put that on the platter for us. The problem here that I have is that the Steelers outgained Green Bay 385-160. And, the Texans obviously took their foot off the gas, but we've been seeing these teams that have depth in their defense annihilate the opposition. The Steelers' backups are tough, and they're fighting for a new coach here. They destroyed the backup offensive line of the Packers. I mean, annihilated them. 5 sacks, 7 tackles for losses. Well, there's been a massive move to the Jets. It's hard to want to get in the way of it, even though this move has been so dramatic from the +3 to the -2. What I would like to see is this total to climb back up like we saw today in that Texans-Raiders game, so I could try to get underneath it. That would be my preference. I'm not going to move on the under tonight. But if it could move a little more towards the over, I will have some interest in it. I agree with everybody telling Allard and Howard how good they look, that they're worth fading. So let's move on to game 2 here. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Carolina Panthers 1-1. Jaguars opened up with a victory in the preseason. We're in Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. 85 Fahrenheit, partly sunny, 6-mile-per-hour winds. Dave Canales, 2-5 as coach of Carolina. Jacksonville, Liam Cohen, 1-2. Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot. We have another big move to Carolina. Carolina opening up +2.5. Now they're 1-point favorites, so a 3.5 and juiced, so a 3.5 3-point move, almost a 4-point move. When we get to the total here for this spot, this is another total that's dropped dramatically from 39.5 all the way down to 36.5. So Carolina comes in off an ugly 29-14 loss in Buffalo, second game of the preseason. They defeated Arizona Cardinals 33-30 in the Hall of Fame game. We have AM crushing these moves to the under. He's on the under 39.5. Bryce Young looked horrible. And, I imagine that the gambling public thinks that will be different here. He went 3 and out and combined for 11 yards in 3 series. He finished 3 of 5 for 18 yards. Now, they didn't have their starting offensive line. Motton out with a blood clot. Ekwonu out with a knee injury. Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis were just held out because they're really concerned about not having a full offensive line. Young, his backup, Kenny Pickett, looked great. 16 and 19 for 92 yards. That was just 3 drives. Then Kyle Trask came in. He threw a 9-yard touchdown pass to Mechie. Jacksonville won their first preseason game of the year 24-20 at New Orleans. Nick Mullins started at quarterback for Jacksonville. Lawrence sat out. So now Cohen has said that Lawrence and the rest of the first-team offense are going to play a few series. And during these joint practices, the Jaguars were annihilating Carolina. Now, Chuma Edoga, their right tackle, hurt himself in the last game, game 1. Carter Bradley passed for 105 yards and a touchdown. He was also intercepted by Jaden Price. I'm surprised here by this line move. Surprised and uncomfortable with the line move. And again, I shouldn't be. I should just get in, just attack it. Right? I mean, we see these moves are 0-8 right now, so I shouldn't, but it's just built into me. I'm very concerned about moving up. I mean, if this was a regular season game, there'd be 0 chance I would move on it. But, Rod's going to keep hammering this angle that's been so good to him. So 3.5-point line move towards the Panthers. Jags are an easy spot to get to. And Rod's Wacky is betting the preseason. We've got him into the preseason football. This is a man that didn't want to bet preseason, but now he's crushing it. I love to see it. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We have 79% of the tickets on Jacksonville and 57% of the cash. So it's a pretty dramatic move to Carolina. 65% of tickets on the under and 86% cash on the under. Wow. It's just a very, very hard to believe these line moves in both these games. Let's talk about game 3 here. And AM has this projected as Jags win by margin. So let's roll on here. Packers, Broncos, Empower Field at Mile High, Denver, Colorado. Well, we have the new Harbaugh. We have the new monster of the preseason. His name's Sean Payton. 8 straight wins. He's just been dominating. It's beautiful weather at Mile High tomorrow night. 84 Fahrenheit, partly sunny, 7 miles per hour. The Packers did not look good in their season opening 28-9 loss at Pittsburgh. Outgained 385 to 160. It was horrible. Let's go into the line history here. This is a total that's climbed. It opened up at 39. We now have a 40.5. Wow. On the point spread here, we have Denver opening up -4. Now they're -6. And AM says he'll be on the Packers' same system. The Jordan Love was 3 of 5 passing during the one series that he played. Trey Smack, is that the best name in football? Kicked 3 field goals. Terod Taylor came in after just for a short period of time, went 4 for 6 for 21 yards. It was Kyle McCord who played the bulk of the game. He went 12 of 16 for 102 yards. The Broncos continued their preseason dominance under Peyton. It's insane. They covered double digits in almost all of these 8 straight wins of the preseason. Stidham is is he the best preseason quarterback in the NFL? 9 of 15 for 131 yards. He played the first half, and then Ellinger came in the second half. Ellinger, and he was 10 of 14 for 67 yards. I mean, Stidham staked them to a 24-0 lead. Shout out to our guy AOT in the house. So, Bo Nix and Jordan Love are expected to play at least one series, but Again, when the backups come in, the Broncos just dominate. John Preston says Sean does take these seriously. I mean, you would have to think that LaFleur is upset from that performance to start the year and that he'll get more. And I think that's part of the reasoning here. Dewan says, I've been a Broncos fan since 96 and says -6 is too low. Our depth is serious and our goal is to treat every opponent the same, dominate Broncos by 12 plus. There's a wager detective still rocking with us. So, I thought that after this breakdown I'd be on the Broncos, and I don't see why I wouldn't be still. They're made for this. They care. And Sean Payton's just dominating everybody. Dominating. We have 68% of tickets and 81% of cash on Denver. Circus moved it to a 6.5. The most expensive, South Point 6.5 too, but they're the only other books that are 6.5. 76% on the under and 75% cash on the over. Very, very, very interesting. Saturated says, who's winning the NFC North? Look, it's a packed question. I still need more time for my futures here. We're going to be talking a lot about them in the next 2 weeks. So I need more time, Saturated. And I know you want it to be your Bears, man. So the Broncos are extremely appealing here. There's no doubt about that. And then, the Jags and the Steelers are appealing. But that trend that AM's talking about is a concern at this point. So I'm going to sit with this here for the rest of the night, and then I will see you in the morning, and I'll have moved. If you're in the Discord or on my X, you'll get the action here in a little bit. And then Dewan says with a packed house and elevation. I'm with you. The Broncos are, I think they just have to be bet. Just like the Ravens had to be bet. All right. That is the National Football League here for Friday, August 21st. Let's get into the WNBA here. So now 8-1 over our last 9. So we'll still hit another new high water mark in the morning. Minnesota Lynx, Washington Mystics. We're at Care First Arena in Washington, D.C., and we've seen the move towards the Mystics. If you watched the Lynx Valkyries game, Olivia Miles stepped on Fee's foot and twisted her ankle, and it looked bad. In fact, when it first happened, I was like, oh, no, is that my future going up in flames? Olivia Miles, is she the Rookie of the Year and the MVP? She's been unbelievable. So it looked bad, but then after the game, she's walking fine. I imagine that if there's any possible concern that they will just rest her, and that's why this line is moved towards the Mystics. And it's moved pretty swiftly towards the Mystics. The Mystics opened up as 5.5-point dogs. Now they're 3.5. It's 3.5 minus 105. We haven't seen buyback at all. Actually, yes, now we've seen 10 cents of buyback. So since it got to 3.5, there's been 10 cents of buyback. I watched her twist her ankle. I could have moved on this last night, and I didn't. I could have moved on this last night. I don't know why I didn't. It was a mistake. I saw the 5.5. I looked at it. I don't know why. I could understand the feeling here from gamblers that this is a spot that should be bet. Let's take a look at what we are dealing with here just a little bit further, and we'll go into the cash flow as well. The Lynx are the class of the league, and the Aces want to say something about that. But it feels like Olivia Miles is going to play here. This is a pretty tough travel situation. This is just bad. I should have been on the Mystics of 5.5, and now I don't know if I can move on them at 3.5. I don't know why I was just sitting there staring at it. You have the Lynx on what? Oh, I guess it's not. Well, yeah. You have the Lynx on Wednesday night play the Valkyries. So today they flew from San Francisco to Washington, and I talked about that flight that the Fever were going to take from Toronto to Dallas, and we knew that Kelsey Mitchell had an illness, and I heard Caitlin Clark coughing in that video over and over and over again, and we talked about that, and we got paid off of it. This is a terrible, terrible spot for the Lynx. Now, they're really enjoying smacking everybody. They have one loss since July 6th. I mean, it's insane. They're beating teams by margin. It's very, very, very impressive work. This is also the last game of the road trip. So they have to fly from San Francisco to Washington for a one-off and then come home to play Golden State again. It's a terrible, terrible spot. I'm beating myself up for not already being on the Mystics. When we get to the Mystics, they've come off back-to-back wins, but they're right in the heart of a home stand. I mean, it's just the perfect opportunity for them to measure up. But it is the last game of the homestand. You know, on Saturday, the Mystics fly across the continent to Portland. So I don't know why I didn't move on that 5.5. That was a mistake. AM says this line's no overreaction. Respectively, Olivia Miles is worth 2.5 points probably. Well, I mean, that's the spread. That's the move. It's moved 2 points, 5.5 to 3.5. But she could play still. Huh. So I'm gonna need more time on that one. But Rod Zweig says bet against Washington after win by 10 or more points. Washington's record during 2026 season 0-5 against the spread. They didn't look that good against the tempo. We were fortunate to catch on -9. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We have the Golden State Valkyries 25-10, 10-5 on the road at the Chicago Sky, 14-22, but 9-9 at home. We're at Wintrust Arena in Chicago, Illinois. The problem with this spot here is you have an angry Valkyries team. They got hammered by the Lynx. Hammered. And that's a problem. This team's got a lot of character. And they're probably out for blood here. Let's take a look at the line history here. Now, Sydney Taylor back for the Sky. They're coming off a massive win against the Liberty at home. They have a day rest advantage, and Valkyrie had to fly today to Chicago. It's not that bad, but they're an angry group, and the Sky are feeling pretty good about themselves. Let's get into the line history here. We have Golden State opening up -6.5. Now they're -6. I hesitate to fade the Sky at home. I mean, the Valkyrie could easily win this game and not cover the 6. This total opened up at 163.5. It's now 161. Dut Dog says Washington best front court in the W. Look, I love their rebounding, man. You have the best rebounding team. I mean, you get the second chance points. You clean up your own glass. It's a really nice place to be. Rod Zweig says Sky are 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 home games. 7-1 against spread over the last 8 home games. So let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have, over to WNBA. We didn't look at the cash flow for the first game, so let's do both. In that first game, 60% of tickets and 78% of cash are on the Mystics, 71 and 88 on the over. In this one, we have 94% of tickets and 87% of cash on Golden State, 71% of tickets on the over and 89% cash on the over. Look, this sucks. This is right. This is a problem. AM's going to move on the Sky plus 6.5. I can't. I don't want really I would like to back the Sky at home as much as possible. But the fact that the Valks are coming off getting smacked in the face by the Lynx is a real problem. It's going to make it very difficult for him to move on them. You know, one thing that's happened on this massive run that we've been on WNBA is I've not been getting cute. I've not been betting many first quarters. Now, I bet first quarter, first half in the Connecticut Sun in the TD Garden game, but that was real different. If I was going to bet a first quarter here, I would bet the Valks first quarter. You know, they're angry. They just come off getting dummied by the Lynx. And now the Sky feel good about themselves off a couple wins. But that's getting cute, and I've not been doing it. And when you get cute in this business, you lose money. And AM saying the Valks play the Lynx after this one, so obviously it's going to mean a ton to them. Rod Zweig says Sky will win the rebound battle here. I don't know. I'm going to write down Valkyrie's first quarter. I mean, we know the first quarter, first halves aren't available yet anyways. Rod Zweig says bet on Chicago in home games versus teams who average 34 or less rebounds a game on the season. After 15-plus games, Chicago record during 2026 season 8-1 against the spread. Let's talk about the final spot on the board. Mabry is out of the lineup for the Toronto Tempo. That was reported to us by AM. Portland Fire 15 and 27 and 10 on the road. Tempo 10 and 25, 6 and 12 at home. And we're at Rogers Arena in Vancouver, BC for this. So, you know, it sucks that Mabry's not going to be there. really sucks. Now they got Sykes back, which will be helpful, and they're going to have a huge packed, sold-out crowd cheering for the tempo, which I think they're going to love. There's a ton of injuries right now. Now, Alomon is back, which is going to help enormously, especially if Mabry's out. But these are big losses. Sabali's still out. Conde out. So there's some problems here. They're on this massive losing streak. And the Fire have won both games to start this road trip. 84-82 at Seattle, and 88-85 at Phoenix. And we also, after they play here in Vancouver, they head back home for Washington. Then they fly out right away for Dallas. I mean, this is the most important game of the year the Tempo just had. And that was at home, but in the Scotiabank Center in front of 19,000 against the Fever. And that's why I faded them against them. I was fortunate to cash that. I was fortunate to cash that. I mean, what level is Sykes at right now? I mean, that's the question for Toronto. She didn't play last game. I mean, we expect her to be back here. Let's just double check and make sure that is the case here. Let me just quickly go to these. Let's go to the WNBA, because if Mabry's out, Alamon's in, and if we can get Sykes back and playing, we know that she missed that. We knew she was going to play in the back-to-back here. So let's just make sure that she's listed as probable to play here, and there's no kind of a setback. Because, she's not even on the injury report, so she's playing. So, we can lose Mabry and everything can be okay, I guess. Let's take a look at the line history here. This total opened up at 186.5. It's now at 183. And then on the point spread for this spot, we have not much of a move, plus 1.5 point move. So I'm interested in Toronto, but I'm certainly going to wait. There's no reason to move on this now, because when everybody knows that Mabry's going to be out, you assume this line's going to move towards Portland. Oh, shit, I was going to write that. Raptors. So I have some interest in the Tempo, but I'm not moving on it right now. So, looking at this here, and there's great stuff coming in from the chat, and I'm going to go over it all again. I have some interest in the Tempo, but I'm going to leave it as just some interest at this point. I love backing Portland at home, and they've held their own on the road. They're 7-10 on the road. And then I kind of like Valk's first quarter. Kind of like them to get shot out of a cannon. I need to sit with it for longer, knowing that they play the Lynx again right after this game. And then I missed the chance to be on the Mystics. I mean, I know it's only moved 2 points, but god damn, basketball bettors know how important it is to have a 5. Because, I mean, it can be tied with 12 seconds left, and you can lose a 3, but you won't lose the 5. So we're crushing WNBA right now. I'll have a full, complete plan when we see you on the morning bag. We got to break down these CFL games really quick. I've gone too long here. Let's talk about the first game in CFL, Friday, August 21st, tomorrow night. We have the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Edmonton Elks. We're at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, Alberta here. We have the Bombers coming in off I wrote down the weather here, and it's fine, but I don't see it here anywhere. Bombers coming off a 33-21 win at home over the hapless Red Blacks. Look what the Red Blacks did tonight. The Red Blacks are absolute trash. Zach Collaros returned to the lineup 21-31 for 222 yards. It was terrible. Brady Oliveira was spectacular. He didn't practice all week last week. He was listed as questionable to play. He hasn't practiced all week this week. But he's a beast, and I expect him to be in the lineup. He ran 11 times for 74 yards and a touchdown and caught 8 for 80. Zach Collaros, if you take Brady Oliveira, their running back out, their superstar running back, look at the numbers that Zach Collaros threw for 142 yards. AM has this projection, Elks minus 3.5. He's going to be on the Blue Bombers plus 5.5. I think that in the end, I'm going to get on the Elks because the Bombers, Collaros doesn't look very good. The Bombers have the worst run defense, one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. And how do the Elks beat you? They dominate you on the ground. And, all year long, they've just been machines on the ground. We've seen Rankin look spectacular. Who woke up last week? Javon Leake. Now you have Rankin and Leake delivering. Let's get back to Winnipeg, though. Tim White caught 8 for 85. This is a team that puts up 26.3 points per game and 349.2 yards. It's not enough. Elks bounce back from getting beaten badly at Montreal by just destroying the Argos. I don't like backing teams in that situation, but again, this was the worst team in the CFL for years. So they're not holding back here. Fajardo went 25 of 31 for 301 yards and a touchdown. He also ran 3 times for 50 yards. Rankin ran 16 times for 47 yards and a touchdown, caught 4 for 61. Javon Leake had a big game. And Winnipeg is last in the league for rush defense. I thought, for whatever reason, I knew they were in the bottom 3, but they're last. They're allowing 128.4 yards per game on the ground. They're in big trouble. Mike O'Shea has got to do something. Another thing about Edmonton is they're crushing at home. 5-0 against the spread at home, outscoring their opponents by an average of 11.2 points per game at Commonwealth Stadium, allowing overall, not just at Commonwealth, 26 points per game. When this line first came out, I wanted Winnipeg, but it was just because I kind of had a little bit of respect for that win over Ottawa. It doesn't deserve any respect. So let's just take a look at this line very quickly here. We've had a half-point move towards the Bombers. Maybe do we get more? I wonder if we get more. And then on the total, we're sitting here at a 59. I wonder what the best way to handle this is. I'm gonna need a little bit more time now, but I've decided that I want the Elks. I'm just not sure the best way of handling it. Is it a double result? It might be. Or is it just Elks minus 5.5? I'd prefer not to double up on it. Let's roll on to game 2 here. Saturday, August 22nd. Hamilton Ticats 4-6, 1-3 on the road. At the Argos 4-5, 1-0 at home. BMO Field in Toronto, Ontario. It's crazy, insane that we have our low bag some of the champions, and I didn't look at the weather. I looked at the weather at one point and it looked fine, but I looked at the weather yesterday and I was like, oh no, it's raining at night. We're going to be at this football game and it's rain, full rain, which sucks. And also because of the full rain, this total's dropped enormously. The AM has this projected Argos -7. He's on the Tiger Cats +4.5. So I knew exactly what I was going to do in this game, and that was bet the Argos. I was surprised at how big of a favorite they were. A little surprised. I knew that Hamilton, I could sell them high coming off the 26-19 victory over the defending champions. And then I knew I could buy the Argos very low because they just got dummied by 30 points by the Elks. So I knew exactly what I was going to do. Oh, sorry, your projection is 0.7. Sorry, I missed that. My computer's dirty. 0.7. Okay, so you're on the Ticats, so that makes more sense. So here, this is something with Trey Ford. When defenses know that Trey Ford's going to start, they shut him down. I don't know if it's Trey Ford's upstairs. I don't know if he just doesn't have it upstairs. When he's going to be the starter, they lose all the time. When a team starts with Harrison Frost or starts with a pocket passer, and then it doesn't work, and they bring in Trey Ford halfway through the game, he flummoxes defense. Defenses don't know what to do with his mobility. When the defense knows it's going to be Trey Ford, he doesn't rush for much. When they don't know, when he comes in halfway through, I mean, he went 13 of 17 for 151 yards and a touchdown, ran 4 times for 38 yards, completely changed the game. I don't think it's going to happen if Mike Miller can plan for Trey Ford. Carrick Wheatfall caught 9 passes for 108 yards, but Lawler's angry. He caught 2 passes for 22 yards. Toronto comes in off that horrible loss. What a great buy low spot. Chad Kelly looked terrible. They've had 11 turnovers in the last 2 games. So I moved on the double result. And then TJ's on the double result as well. I just wish that I had moved on the under. I should have already known the weather. Opened up at 63.5. Look, I thought that 63.5 was too high, but I don't trust the Argos defense. But the Ticats defense is really good. I don't know how I let it slip past me, but I did, which is fine. Hopefully I'll get a chance to get in live on an under. But 63.5 opener, we're all the way down to 59.5. You can't bet that now. And then on the spread, we're sitting here at a 4.5, which is where it opened. Look, I have AM says VC reporting Argos 85% of the bets and 80% of the handle. Look, I don't know if they cover the 4.5, but I like the double result a lot. I love the buy low spot on the Argos. I'm on the double result here. Final spot on the board and final spot on our show, Sunday, August 23rd, Roughriders, BC Lions. We're at BC Place in Vancouver, British Columbia. Look, I gave you guys the lines to win the Grey Cup at plus 750. Rourke went down, and then I gave it to you guys at plus 2,000. It was actually at plus 2,500, and they announced that I was trying to time it right, and then they announced that Rourke was coming back, and it moved to 2,000. I moved on it at 2,000. I got family members. I got people around me to move on it at plus 2,000. It's just a great piece. Since then, they've won 3 straight games. Now, the problem with this, so I'm on the Lions plus 1.5. I'm on the Lions train, man. And the problem with this one is just that it's a buy low spot for Saskatchewan coming off the 26-19 loss. But I don't care because the BC Lions are bet on. And you're going to give me a plus 1.5? I mean, come on. Trevor Harris struggled in that game versus Hamilton, 23-35 for 270 yards, touchdown. And Star Thomas did a terrible job replacing A.J. Ouellette. Star Thomas ran 9 times for 36 yards. Lions coming off a very impressive 30-26 victory at Calgary for their 3rd straight win. It was such an easy bet to be on Calgary last week, or to be on BC last week, because BC looked so bad against Hamilton in their first game with Rourke back. It was a perfect buy low opportunity there. Rourke was 15-22 for 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also ran 3 times for 39 yards and touchdown. Xander Horvath, has strengthened his hold on RB1, 15 carries for 102 yards and a touchdown. He also caught 3 for 32. So that means in his last 3 games, and Butler, much to Butler's chagrin, Horvath has run for 355 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then we get Berryhill back, but we don't even really need him. Jermaine Jackson, Justin McInnis, Keon Hatcher, they all go for 80-plus receiving. This is wonderful. Rod's Whack on Lions double result. I love that. I'm just on the plus 1.5 here. I bet it as soon as I could. Right now, here, this is a Sunday game. The Lions opened up a plus 1.5. Now they're minus 2.5. Look at that. That's just heaven. This total is a 62.5. Opened up 63.5. It's a very high total. Probably too high. Rod's Whack says bet on British Columbia on the money line versus mistake-free teams. With 66 or less penalty yards per game. BC's record since 2025, 10-2. Bet on BC on the first half line when playing against a team with a winning record after 9 or more games. BC's record on the first half line since 2025, 5-0. I'm right there, man. BC Lions, baby. BC Lions. That is our show for today. Thank you guys for rolling with me. We're going to be back in 9 hours and 26 minutes for the morning bag, and everything will be bet, and it'll be just smash. And that's what we will do. So on behalf of all of us, thank you guys so much. A huge thank you to Swiggy on the 1s and 2s, doing such a great job producing the show and adding these great graphics. Thank you guys. Rod Zawacki, AOD, Johnny Preston, AM. Thank you guys, man. Putting in the good fight. Robert Cherry, Wager Detective. Means a ton. Dut Dog in the house. Love that, man. Thank you for running with us. All of you guys, it truly means the world. Rob Free. Dewan Turrentine. Thank you, guys. On behalf of all of us, Pub Sports Radio, let's go get this money, man. We've done the work. Let's get the cash, man. Let's milk these bookies, man. Let's milk them. Milk them. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers, man. Milk them.
It's easier to sleep in the black when you're losing your ass and feeling so. You know what to do. Tune in to Pub Sports Radio. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's a roller coaster ride, you're gonna catch a bad beat. No problem, keep your head up and just bet the spreadsheet. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. All thanks to Jeff Slaughter, these shows have our backs. POD's always rolling, especially the stats. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. We got Jimmy, Jose, Debbie and the fam. Dutch wine time, Spooner and OG Wham. So hit the like button, don't say that you can't. If you know what's best, just put your money on tape.